you'll ride along with 8 of the best drivers in America today, including pole sitter Bobby Labonte, the Circuit City camera on board his Joe Gibbs Pontiac. And from the outside pole, Ricky Rudd, the Texaco Haviland cam, and his Robert Yates Ford. From 6th position, the Bud cam on board with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevrolet. The Super 8 camera in Bill Elliott's Ford from the 8th position. And the Visa cam charging along with Mark Martin in his Ford from 19th. There's the Citgo camera. It's a new camera after yesterday for Elliott Sadler and the Wood brothers. You see he's dropped to the tail end of the field with a backup car. The Home Depot cam, last week's winner Tony Stewart for Joe Gibbs Racing in the Pontiac, starting 28th. And finally the Roush Racing Ford, that's the John Deere camera on board with Chad Little. And let's check with Ralph Sheen.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has decided not to take any of the ice packs that they were thinking about putting inside the car. He has done no trick things. He's just going to gut it out in the early stages of this race. At this point, they don't even have a standby driver waiting for him. Dick?
Well, this racetrack has a reputation as fuel important. How much mileage you get may well determine who wins this race, and there's a very simple reason for that. There are very few caution flags here. For the last 4 years, it's averaged just 2, 6 at all other racetracks. So, make the fuel last as long as you possibly can. That's a key to winning. Bill Stevens.
While Bobby Labonte scampered in qualifying with his Pontiac, one driver that had a problem all weekend was the guy in the Pontiac right behind Bobby Labonte in the points, Ward Burton. Crew Chief Tommy Baldwin Jr. said the car really hasn't reacted to the Michigan racetrack the way they expected. The good news, it's the same car that won in Darlington, and it's never finished out of the top 10. Back upstairs.
Under threatening skies, let's go racing in the Kmart 400. Bobby Labonte in green, Ricky Rudd in black and orange. Bring them down. Green flag is in the wind. We're racing. And it is Rudd breaking out front in turn 2.
Sometimes that outside groove can work to your advantage, especially on the start of a race, as they build up that momentum and able to pull the body off of turn 2.
A lot of cars out there right now being very careful as they build the air pressure up. They start with the air pressure a little low to get maximum grip as the air pressure starts to build in these cars.
Bobby Labonte didn't hear you, Ned. Here he comes on the bottom trying to lead lap 1. Give it to Rudd by half a car length.
NASCAR Winston Cup Racing, there's 5 bonus points for leading a lap. Rudd got that bonus on that lap. Now Labonte has taken the lead.
5th race that Ricky Rudd has led this year, and they are 3 wide behind him for 5th place. Wow.
Down the long back straightaway there, you see the first 2 cars breaking away from Rusty Wallace, the 3rd place car there, number 2. These guys are really going at it. They're not waiting on air pressure to build up.
9 cars single file. And then it's anybody's battle. There's the single file train, and right behind them, they are all stacked up 4 wide off the 4th corner.
This is the type of racing that you become accustomed to seeing here at the Michigan Speedway, especially in the early going.
Robbie Gordon there in the orange car, number 13, he was 4 wide there. I'm glad they decided to make it 3 wide, but this is what makes Michigan so famous. 3 wide through the corners. They battle side by side.
These turns are 76 feet wide in the turn, so there is a lot of room there.
Behind Gordon, they were 4 wide all the way through turns 1 and 2.
Tony Stewart in the 20 there on the bottom, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8, and Mike Skinner in the 31 there. They're going up through the field here just behind Robbie Gordon, who's made some bold moves in the first part of this race. He's in the 13, that orange car.
Bobby Labonte from Ricky Rudd. And we ride with Dale Earnhardt Jr. That's Robert Presley just ahead of him.
You can see a little mist coming up on the windshields as we ride down the back straightaway. Certain parts of the racetrack showing a little bit of moisture on the cameras on the top of the cars there.
Three wide right where we're watching. They're just not going to give it up racing. Look at Tony Stewart dropping back.
Yeah, Robbie Gordon, He stuck his nose up there in the middle and went right on through. He's in the orange, number 13.
I think Tony Stewart backed out to get that run right in the center part of the corner. You could see him going by Robbie Gordon right in the center part of the corner. He had a great run through the center part. Wally Dolan back in the 75 there as Tony Stewart's trying to go by him down the back straightaway.
Stewart needs a little drafting help and doesn't have any right behind, but he completes the pass into turn 3.
His car seems extremely fast through the turns, and that's very important here at Michigan Speedway.
But he's running net about 4.5 seconds behind the leader, and there's a report perhaps of right front tire smoke on Ricky Rudd, the second place car.
That could be one of two things. If he's got a big push in the car, it would smoke that tire a little bit, but he may have made a little contact with somebody. I do not see the smoke that they're talking about at the moment.
Keep an eye for that, buddy. The top 15 now have gone single file, and there is just a touch of it. Rudd hangs on to second place, 0.4 of a second behind Bobby Labonte.
Pulled away a little bit from Rusty Wallace, who is running in third position.
And you see behind the two leaders, they've ganged up single file because running laps here at 178 miles an hour, the draft is very effective. We'll see if those 5 can pull up to the leaders.
And the one thing you have to remember, we're in lap 6 now. The better handling cars will start to balance out, and they'll move up if they have anything to move up with. The front 2 cars right now, Ricky Rudd looking to take the lead.
Goes down to the inside. Labonte's going to not fight him too much, but okay, if you want to go that fast, go ahead.
Ned, is this maybe where Bobby Labonte starts to think about conserving fuel?
Could very well be that he would do that. Let's go to the pits and Dick Berger.
Well, Labonte's crew has, in fact, been worried about that tire smoke that Ricky Rudd may be experiencing. Just a lap or 2 ago, his spotter radioed down to Labonte and said, in fact, that there is smoke coming off number 28. He just did it again. Just as I'm giving this report, the spotter did it again. To Ralph Shaheen.
Well, Dick, the problem with the smoke is that the tire on the right front is rubbing inside the fender well. Now, they will start with the air pressures down on these tires. Michael McSwain, the crew chief for Ricky Rudd, is not concerned about it because as the heat builds up in these tires, they will actually get a little bit thinner and a little bit taller, and he feels like once that takes place, it'll pull that tire away from the fender. They should be okay.
So there's Rudd, last lap, 180.8, as he pulls the train around Michigan Speedway.
I can tell you one thing, it'd have something to do with my foot if I was running second. And I looked up here and seen that smoke coming off the right front.
Upper left of your screen, when one of those position boxes shows up in green, that driver has gained a spot last lap. If it shows up red, the driver has lost a position. Jeremy Mayfield, Robert Presley, Terry Labonte, and Bobby Hamilton have each gained 11 positions since they dropped the green flag. Tony Stewart has picked up 9 positions from where he started, moving from 28 to 19. Here's the battle up front.
Yeah, they're drafting along. Rusty Wallace has broke away there in third place and starting to close in on the leaders just a little bit in the number 2 car.
Bill Elliott in fourth place.
Well, I tell you, that smoke on that right front, if it goes away, it's going to do a miracle job because it is rubbing pretty hard.
And it has to have Ricky Rudd and his crew very concerned.
The 2 leaders are not going to be alone for long. Rusty Wallace is now within about 6 car lengths of second. And here is Stewart continuing to climb the ladder. He's now up to 14th. Going after LePage, that's 13th position.
And right on the white line, down where nobody else is able to run right at the moment. He seems to have the lowest line on the racetrack at the moment, and it's working.
Tony's had a busy weekend. He flew down to Bristol, Tennessee to see the World of Outlaws as they put clay over the asphalt surface of Bristol's 5-8 miles. Flew down and back, commuted down there to see the show, and here he's ready to go.
Well, you know, at Dover last week, he dominated the race by doing exactly the same thing he's doing as he comes up through the field. He was able to run lower than anyone else and pick the throttle up just a little bit quicker because there's nobody running down there, so it's a cleaner track.
Front 2, bumper to bumper, Wallace. Then Elliott, then Gordon. Leading the 33 of Nemechek, then John Andretti, Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Burton, Jeremy Mayfield, the top 10.
Earnhardt and Mayfield. Earnhardt in the black number 3, Mayfield in the blue and white number 12. They sort of hooked up when they came through this by the start-finish line the last time around and were trying to draft together. before turn 1.
And now Jeff Burton in the 99. He's made it a 3-car battle as they go down the back straightaway there. And there is drafting here, just like Talladega and at Daytona. Once they get in line like that, they can really catch a car in front of them.
Yeah, you can feel the draft. It's not quite as effective as you will see at Daytona and Talladega, where they run as close as they do, or all the cars run as close together, because the handling comes into play so much more here.
Elliott Sadler started 43rd in a backup car. He's moved up to 39th. That's the Wood Brothers number 21. You ride with Sadler, the Virginia driver. Ricky Rudd, the leader. Bobby Labonte, Rusty Wallace, 12 laps complete. Welcome back to Michigan Speedway. 15 laps, green all the way. Bobby Labonte has gone back to the lead over Ricky Rudd and Rusty Wallace. We'll show you the pass. Labonte draws a bead on Rudd up in 3 and 4 and does it the highway.
Well, he's got momentum up there, and Ricky's really not putting up much of a battle there. He's very content to drop in. He'll start drafting him down the front straightaway there. The two of them are making a lot of good time by not racing each other side by side.
Looks like they're having a good time out there, buddy.
But look here, last time around 3 and 4, Ned, Labonte was on the bottom of the racetrack, and Ricky was 2 groups above.
You remember me talking not long ago, Ned, about they'll start moving around on the racetrack to find where the car works?
The cars will change a little bit, and the racetrack will change a little bit.
Trouble, turn 4. Car has bounced off the wall into the infield.
Bobby Hamilton, a lot of damage to the right side of that car.
Boy, he just pancaked the wall with the right side, didn't he? Hamilton had gained 14 positions since the drop of the green flag.
He was making a good move towards the front. Brett Bodine had fallen way back. He's lost a cylinder on his Ford.
And they come to the caution flag at lap 17. Out of the throttle, and everyone save Hamilton still on the lead lap. Now the window net's still up, and that's a sign the driver needs assistance.
I see him moving around in there, though. I did see movement inside the car. Here he comes out now. That's a good sign.
Bobby Hamilton. Okay. Gives a wave to the fans up there in turn 3, but that was a nasty hard hit to the wall.
He's looking there at the right front as if maybe the tire let go.
So they'll hook Hamilton up, and at only 18 laps, any chance of seeing pit stops?
I think we will. I think we will see pit stops. They want to check out those tires, and it'll help them as far as any fuel mileage is concerned too.
Also, any minor adjustments to the chassis, because they have run long enough to get heat in the tires now and know what they need to just fine-tune a little bit.
So Bobby Hamilton helping with the recovery operation for his Morgan McClure Chevrolet. 18 laps complete. Pace car bringing the leaders to turn 4. And Bobby Labonte down to the apron, and it looks like most of the cars will follow him in.
I have a feeling that the pace car is going to be out on the racetrack in a lonely
right
position.
by himself.
I think you're right, Ned. They're your 3 leaders, top to bottom as they come in: Labonte, Rudd, and Wallace.
Give Rudd's crew an opportunity to check out, see where that smoke was coming from. Let's go to the pits and Dick Berger.
Well, Bobby Labonte's crew chief is counting him in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Jeff Chandler heads out to the right front tire. He's also the team coordinator for pit stops. They're going to pull a rubber out of the shock. Boom, there it goes, to try to help the handling. They've got to get the tires from the right side out of the pit box in order to avoid a penalty. To Ralph.
Wolf and Ray Holm go to work on Ricky Rudd's car. No changes will be made to the suspension on this car or air pressures. They definitely just want to change tires and put fuel in it. They want to take a look at that right front tire and see how bad it was.
One car did not pit. One lonely car behind the pace car did.
That was Brett Bodine. I mentioned that he'd had a problem with the engine in his car running on 7 cylinders, so he said, hey, I might as well stay here and get 5 bonus points.
That's that rubber that goes in the spring there. They jerked it out to make that spring softer so it gets better bite.
And smoke from Steve Park's car, who came to a halt in the middle of the pit lane and then went back out after a jack wrench was removed from it. So a busy day on pit road as Bobby Hamilton's car, what's left of it, is hauled back to go on the truck. The best news, Bobby walked away from that one.
It hasn't been a good year for Bobby Hamilton and the Morgan McClure race team. They've run well in a number of races, but boy, it just seems like one thing and then another bites them.
So let's show you what happened up in turns 3 and 4 from Chad Little's John Deere cam. There's Hamilton in the wall already and coming right across.
Close. Now Brett Bodine gives up the lead and comes into the pits, and Rusty Wallace will be the man that beat everybody out.
Rusty came in third and went out first. So Wallace, he is the new leader of the race from Ricky Rudd, Jeff Gordon, Kenny Irwin, and Bobby Labonte, who came in first and came out fifth. We'll be right back to Michigan. Laps complete here at Michigan. Rusty Wallace, the leader. The Spirit of Goodyear, one of 7 airships in the Goodyear fleet, providing these aerial views of Michigan Speedway and the field coming by on the final lap of this first caution of the day. With Rusty Wallace ahead of Ricky Rudd, Jeff Gordon, Kenny Irwin, and Bobby Labonte after the pit stops. You see that Labonte went in first, came out fifth. Rudd stayed the same. Rusty gained 2 spots. Jeff Gordon picked up 1, and Bill Elliott dropped 2. Here's Dick Berggren.
Steve Park came into today's race with great optimism, thought he might win it, but this has put a real crimp in his day. This is the pressure side of his power steering line, and as you saw at the beginning of the shot right there, it's been cut off. Somehow the crew doesn't have a spare gear. They've had to go all the way back to the garage to get a spare, so he's running without power steering. Terrell Shaheen.
Michael McSwain is a crew chief for Ricky Rudd. You had a chance to take that tire off, Michael. Did you look at it? Were you concerned about the rubbing?
We're not that concerned. We pretty much knew what it was. We had a little bit of it yesterday in practice, so we beat on a little bit. Obviously, we didn't get enough of it, but the Texaco Avalon Ford's running real good. I think we're going to be okay.
We're back under green. Rusty Wallace hauls him down to turn 1. Single file restart. All cars there on the lead lap. Bobby Labonte on the inside on the move at 4th place.
Boy, Rudd has got a great car. He just zooms up out of the corner there as they come down the front straightaway. That car is on the move. He's got some of that famous Robert Yates power, but Rusty fights back on the outside. Jeff Gordon now in 3rd place doing a great job also.
Well, Rusty retakes the lead going into the turn. Here's Earnhardt in the black number 3 and Jeremy Mayfield battling side by side. And it looks like right there, the outside groove is the better place to be coming off the turn.
Rudd for the lead against Wallace.
Rusty said that works so good for him. I think I'll look down there myself. But Jeff Gordon, he's looking to the high side, and one thing you don't want is somebody right over you as you start in the corner. It loosens the car up, which makes the back end a little bit light and hard to handle.
Bill Elliott on the move up to 7th place. There was a time when he all but owned this racetrack. He's run strong here in recent years, but hasn't quite seen the success of the 80s. Maybe today. There's Stewart on the bottom in that shot.
And that car will be more dominant as they go along, and the tires get hot and balance is a premium. He starts to move, and so will the 12 car. That lower line really comes in after the tires start going away on the cars running the higher grooves.
Going to leave Kenny Irwin stacked up in that top groove as Ricky Rudd opens up a little advantage here. Ned, I'm surprised Rudd's been able to pull away like that. I mean, he got 6 car lengths in 1 lap.
Well, he really did, and I think it's because that car, as Buddy mentioned a moment ago, is coming off the corner so well. That thing is hooked up coming off the turns, and if you get a car that'll turn, and so you can accelerate fully coming off the corner like he's doing right now, you can make up some time on it.
Tony Stewart just passed John Andretti and Kenny Irwin 3 abreast, and here's Irwin returning the favor off into turn 3. That's Stewart in number 20. Let's watch from Bill Elliott.
Yeah, and there goes Stewart, as I was talking about, on that lower line. He just fades right out in the traffic, uses the draft down the straightaway. Now he'll break to the bottom again once he gets to the corner.
Well, right up in front of him, they were 3 wide here going into turn 1 for 3rd position. They sort of got back down to 2 wide there as we ride with Bill Elliott, looking at Kenny Irwin.
And just ahead, Stewart on the inside. Bobby Labonte's moved back up into second position and taken Jeremy Mayfield with him.
Watch Tony Stewart here. He looked like he's going out in the infield. He's so low on the racetrack. This is him right in the bottom part of the racetrack. He's really hauling it.
Up against Robert Presley there. Jasper Ford, Stewart running the short way around. This is a 400-mile race. He may only run about 395 and finish every lap.
It's fun to watch, and it's fun to drive a race car that handles that well, because you can go down where nobody else is running. You don't have to check up for cars that are in front of you, like the guys that are running up high where everybody's at.
From the Home Depot onboard camera with Stewart. Pops up in line there right behind Presley and goes to work downstairs again.
Jeff Gordon says, whoa, wait a minute, I'm not going to let you go under me. Oh, his tearaway just blew off the windshield. They put little plastic tearaways on the windshields as they go along, and that piece just flew off, made the windshield much clearer, better for me to look through anyhow.
Yeah, and look at Gordon climb the hill, and Stewart's right underneath him alongside, and Stewart's going to complete the pass. Oh, not enough room to get back up to the top lane.
No, and they'll make him pay for that down the straightaway, but when they hit the corner again, he'll take over and run much quicker. He has a better car in the corners right now.
Jeremy Mayfield battling Bobby Labonte for second place. And let's check with Ken Squire.
And with Jerry Glanville. Jerry, as we watch this scramble out here, you don't get the sense of speed that we're getting. They're well over 180 miles an hour as they attack these corners. Those corners look so easy to go through.
Well, that turn number one, you can really drive it as hard as probably any place in NASCAR. But if you go down there real fast in 1 and 2, and I think you saw that with Bobby Hamilton making the move. If you go into 3 real fast, in fact, Sterling Marlin told me he calls it the hospital hop, and that's how you jump up and smack that wall in turn 4. And Bobby was so fast in 1 and 2, that drove him up in the wall in turn 4.
Average speed is down after the Hamilton caution at 143 miles an hour. Doesn't look like we're going to get a record breaker like we had at 173 miles an hour a year ago, set by Dale Jarrett. Back to Mike Joy.
30 laps on the board. Ricky Rudd is the race leader. He is the only man in the NASCAR Winston Cup top 10 in the points who does not have a victory this year. 12 different winners in 13 races. Earnhardt Jr., the only repeater. And here's last week's winner, Stewart, up against Jeff Gordon as they roll into the corner for 4th place.
Yeah, and he has to be real careful not to get too close to the 24. There's a lot of turbulence built up by the 2 cars when they run in the corner. Outside car will pull the back of the front car around, and you see Stewart finally got by Gordon.
Now, we talked at the top of the show about fuel mileage. Tony Stewart said yesterday, he says, I am not a fuel mileage racer. I think the fastest car ought to win. And you see it in his driving right there. Yeah. I don't see any conserving going on there.
Well, they told me he has 2 speeds, wide open and stop. So, I mean, that's why he does not conserve fuel.
Yeah, when he backs off the gas to get that thing set in the corner, he just plants his foot on the accelerator, and that puts a lot of gas through the carburetor. So, yeah, he's not a fuel mileage expert as far as the driver is concerned. He just likes to put that foot down and go.
Let's go back to the battle for ninth. That's Kenny Irwin in blue, green, and every other color, trying to hold off Bill Elliott and John Andretti.
John Andretti coming back from an injury in Charlotte, had a broken rib, but he told me he was 100% now. He's driving the 43, the blue car there. Said he's 100% now, and he plans to go the whole race today.
Oh, as you see Earnhardt on the right side of the screen have to lift out of it. He had a run going on the bottom. Kevin LePage came down and closed that gap.
Well, they don't do you any favors out here, I promise you. You make it as tough as you can without really creating a problem for the guys when you're racing. One thing you don't want to do is give them the preferred line if you can help it.
So Earnhardt follows LePage through. There you see them on the bottom side. .33 of 100 laps. Mayfield and Labonte have been unable to hook up and run down race leader Ricky Rudd. And here you see this pack starting to develop into a battle. That's Irwin on point. Bill Elliott right behind him. Andretti third in that line. LePage, Earnhardt, Jeff Burton, Dale Jarrett. more on Mayfield's run today. Bill Stevens.
Mike, Jeremy qualified 22nd, was only 15th fastest in happy hour. Now he's in second place. Peter Suspenso, the crew chief. You guys seem to be peaking at the right time.
Well, I didn't hear what you said, but we're running pretty good right now. The car just a little bit tied off and a little adjusted as the race goes on.
Why so much better now? We haven't seen anything so far that would lead us to believe you had such a good car.
Well, we didn't qualify as good as we thought we should, and we knew we had a better car, and we knew we were going to be good for the race.
Well, we're one of the fastest cars on the racetrack right now.
That they are, running 1 second behind race leader Ricky Rudd. Now, we mentioned Dale Jarrett a moment ago in that pack. Here he is with his old running mate Earnhardt.
Yeah, he's got a good run on Earnhardt down the front straightaway, and he has Robert Gordon just behind him, helping him there, pushing him down through the front straightaway. They should get by Earnhardt.
You were right, they did. Jarrett's car seems to be working well down on the inside of the racetrack as well. He dropped back to about 30th position at the start of the race after starting in 26th position, and then began to move back a little bit. Had a great pit stop, 15.8 seconds, and that picked him up a few positions.
35 laps complete. Ricky Rudd leading Jeremy Mayfield, Bobby Labonte, and Tony Stewart.
Stewart made the pass. That's the important part.
Did the old slide job, slid right up in front of his partner, and so Bobby had to back off there for a little bit.
You watch enough of those outlaw races, and you get a feel for that, don't you?
Right.
Yeah, and if you're at home, you're probably saying, well, why don't he go down there with Stewart? Well, Stewart set his car up to run down there where Bobby Labonte uses more racetrack. He has his car set for the higher line. So what works for one guy may not work for the other.
Stewart was looking for second off turn 4. Now that's looking back at Labonte from Stewart. Right in front of him is Mayfield, and Mayfield goes to the bottom to block.
He looked up in his mirror, and I'm sure his spotter told him, said, hey, he's running right on the bottom of the racetrack. That's the fastest way around here. Of course, it depends on how you have your race car set up.
It'll take more than that to discourage that kid in that number 20 there. They call him Tony the Tiger in the open wheels, and you'll see why in just a second. He really, really drives the car 100% from the green flag to the checker.
Ralph Shaheen.
Mike, when it comes to fuel economy, well, there's one reason why there's a big difference between what Tony Stewart gets and his teammate Bobby Labonte. Bobby Labonte is considered the better fuel mileage driver on the Joe Gibbs team. He uses his right foot only on the pedals. That means when he goes to brake, he uses his right foot to brake as well. Tony uses his left foot on the brake and his right foot only on the gas, so he's a little bit harder on both pedals.
Riding with him, that's Tony Stewart. Right up the tailpipe of Jeremy Mayfield.
And he gets that inside groove. You can see much quicker on the bottom part of the racetrack there. Now, he'll pay the price as they start off, but he slides her right up there, like you said, Ned, and he took the spot away.
In the last 10 laps, Stewart has gained a full second on Ricky Rudd and passed the second and third place cars. Further back.
Oh, Earnhardt almost got in the outside wall there. The 3-car got very sideways as he was trying to get off the corner. The back just stepped out on him.
And even with all that, buddy, he's passing cars.
Oh, yeah, that didn't matter to him. He drove all his life that way. It wouldn't change today.
Ralph?
Well, Mike, it's interesting that the rear end would step out on Dale Earnhardt because he's been complaining on the radio about a severe push, and I do mean severe, which means when he goes into the corner and turns the wheel to the left, instead of the car turning left, it tends to push up the hill. So he must really be making some serious corrections inside the cockpit of the car to get that rear end to step out on him.
Well, what happened there, he's in huge traffic there, and I think he moved to the right real quick, and he snapped the wheel, and it just threw the back of the car out.
Sterling Marlin moved under him, but can't complete that pass. Page on the left of your screen. Earnhardt in the high groove.
You said that right. He's 4 stories high in the corner there. He's right up there just about at the edge of the what we call the groove. That's the darker part of the racetrack. The gray part up there hadn't been used.
This battle is for 14th on back. Labonte drops to the low side to try Earnhardt.
Labonte has made a good move towards the front. Terry in the car number 5. He took a provisional to get in the field.
Two past champions. side by side, and neither one really has a toe off of the page.
No, and Sterling, the car just behind them, is not close enough to really help either car.
Boy, second place off turn 4, almost got together. Stewart and Mayfield very nearly traded paint up in turn 4. They were side by side, and Stewart had to lift out of it, or maybe wreck them both. Here he goes again.
He gets a run off the corner down on the inside, but as we pointed out, that outside groove, but he has that momentum. Mayfield does, pulls back out in front of us once again.
Yeah, and his teammate can't help him because he can't run down there where Tony Stewart does.
Right behind them, Jeff Gordon. Well, Stewart's not about to give it up.
Yow, don't.
Oh, there's that slide jump. Yeah. Put her right up there in front of him.
I'm going to tell you right now, he could go bear hunting with a switch. I've never seen anybody with the... He makes moves on the racetrack every once in a while. I think it amazes his own self, you know?
Cutting it that close, Zippy better remind him that Pontiac's got an extra 5 inches of muscle back there. With the rule change, it's 5 inches longer than it was a couple of weeks ago. And there wasn't 5 inches between those cars when he slid up a groove in front of Jeremy Mayfield.
I've seen him do it without fenders at all on his sprint car, so that's nothing new for him. He's used to knowing where his car is at on the racetrack.
There's Joe Nemechek in 33 ahead of Mike Skinner. Here's Arfredo's onboard telemetry, speed, and engine RPM.
Joe Nemechek last week in Dover had a third place or better car all day long and got caught on he made a pit stop and the caution came out just a few laps later. But he's really improved his...
Bill Elliott, excuse me, buddy. Bill Elliott has dropped off of the lead pack and onto pit road.
And this is an unscheduled stop, Mike. It's not time for him to be coming into the pits now.
Ralph?
Mike, we're down here in Bill Elliott's pit, waiting for the 94 to make its way down pit road. The crew is waiting as well up on the wall with tires in hand, ready to service him as he makes his stop. Andy Thurman goes to work on the fronts. Jim Pullman changing the rears. Nothing being said over the radios as to potential problems or any major changes to the car. Fairly routine service as they complete the 4 tire stop, fill him up with fuel, and send him back on his way.
Good stop, 16.7, but Elliott loses a lap to the race leaders. 55-mile-an-hour speed limit on pit road, plus the time he was stopped for service. So Elliott, 4-time winner of this race, goes a lap down as we approach 100 miles. Ricky Rudd, the leader. Tony Stewart, Jeremy Mayfield, Bobby Labonte.
100 miles, 3 leaders thus far. They swapped the lead a little, not nearly as much as the record would indicate in the past, but getting pretty good out there. Just one caution when Bobby Hamilton slammed the wall up here in turn 4. Jerry Glanville, I'm impressed with that run by Mayfield, and you say you think he's got the right combination for today's race.
Absolutely. When I talked to Jeremy Mayfield the last 2 days, he said, we can win this race. And he's the only driver I know. He never mentioned the motor. He said, we have the right aero design. Our fenders, our C-post. He said, we can cut through the air as good as anybody here.
And that's just what he's doing right now. Mayfield, the winner at Fontana, California, for the lead. Here's Rudd coming back on the inside as they head down that long back straightaway.
I think what people have to understand is the motors are so close. If you can get the right quarter panel, if you look at behind his rear wheels, he's got those fenders tucked under there, and he said, we're going to be fast.
Tony Stewart hangs right onto them, and let's go back topside with Mike Joy.
Ken, I think what put Mayfield right up there was that Stewart and Rudd got together 2 laps ago off turn 4.
You're exactly right, and that's what happened. The two of them made a little contact there, and of course Jeremy Mayfield had a huge run. That even brought Jeff Gordon into the fray here. He's caught the front bunch now, along with Bobby Labonte.
Dale Jarrett's moved up to 6th. Rusty Wallace has faded to 7th. Behind Mayfield, Stewart, Rudd, Bobby Labonte, and Jeff Gordon. Let's go to Bill Stevens.
Mike, about 10 laps ago, Jeremy Mayfield was telling his crew chief, Peter Suspenzo, the car was really tight when Tony Stewart was passing him down low. Peter was saying to him, move down low, move down low. Jeremy said, I can't. The car won't move down low. I could lose it. Then the car started to improve, and just now when he took the lead, he used his head. He went low, but used lapped traffic to draft to keep the car stable so he could move to the front.
Great move for Mayfield, who goes on point against Stewart, who's running in his 3rd Michigan NASCAR Winston Cup race, and Rudd in his 47th straight Winston Cup race at Michigan. Leads all drivers in that category.
I think these guys can see right behind the grandstand as they start into turn 3. There's some real black clouds moving in, and they're stepping it up now.
A little further back in the field at 20th position, Matt Kenseth takes that from Michael Waltrip, number 7, and Kenny Irwin, 42. Just in front of them, Jimmy Spencer. What a move for Spencer. He started tail end and has moved to 17th. And here are those dark clouds coming from the south. Thunderstorms on the way.
Boy, I hope they just go right on by. They look like you may go skirting by turn 4 there. We certainly hope so.
57 laps are complete. 100 laps is halfway. And we would have a complete race if we pass that point.
Bill Elliott, he's a lap down.
Well, everyone came in at the lap 18 caution for Bobby Hamilton, so to get to halfway, there will have to be at least one more pit stop. Dick Berggren?
And when that pit stop happens, Bobby Labonte has asked his crew to change the track bar. The car is pushing. They are concerned about the right front on that automobile. And Jimmy Makar has just told his driver, step it up. The rain is coming. So he's got an ill-handling car. He's supposed to go faster with it. Wow.
Remember, Labonte is the point leader and pole sitter, and you saw those dark clouds from the onboard camera.
Yeah, drivers see that too. They're not just looking at the racetrack. They're pretty aware of everything. And too, when that crew chief tells you it's on the way, you listen.
But it isn't going to do him a whole lot of good right now until you get to the halfway point.
No, exactly. They're starting to race all over this racetrack right now. I told you the first part of the show that they would be trying the bottom part of the racetrack, the middle part, and the top. Well, the cars that were running on the bottom of the racetrack a while ago, now they're up very high on the racetrack, just trying to find somewhere that the cars grip well.
And the only exception to that is right up at the front, Tony Stewart, who closes up on Mayfield with that low run and takes a car length out of his lead. Back to the stripe. 60 laps, 120 miles. Mayfield, Stewart, Rudd, Bobby Labonte, Gordon, and Dale Jarrett. Now 9 seconds off the lead, but he's beginning to close a bit.
Well, they had a lot of cars to come through, and took him a while to get around John Andretti and Rusty Wallace and Robert Presley, who was running in the pack there. But once he got by them, Jarrett was able to pull away.
Let's go a little further back to 11th place. Earnhardt, or is it Marlin? Or will it be Gordon by the time they get to the end of the straightaway? That's the fun thing about this. You just don't know. All right, Earnhardt holding 11th. Jeremy Mayfield, the leader at 60 laps. Grandstand have been busy, half looking at the racetrack, half looking over their shoulders at the weather. 65 complete, 35 laps to halfway, and this lead battle's been a tremendous one, but they'll all have to pit in the next 4 to 6 laps for fuel.
Stewart finally gets the run. He has worked so hard for that pass, but he finally was able to make it.
But can he keep it, Ned?
Here comes Jeremy back on the bottom. He took the lower side there. It looked like he's slowing down to come into pits.
He is headed for pit road, as Mike said, the next 4 to 6 laps, and it's a little bit earlier for him. Johnny Benson is on pit road.
And Joe Nemechek pitted while we were in commercial, the first of the lead lap drivers to make a scheduled stop.
55 miles an hour down pit road. Well, it takes forever, it seems like, sitting behind the wheel of that car to get to his pits. Let's go to the pits and Bill Stevens.
Fuel. Jeremy Mayfield taking 4 tires, 2 cans of fuel, air pressure adjustment to try to correct the push condition in the car. Jeremy says it's not that bad now, it's actually got better, and he's away.
So now Mayfield and team will have to hold their breath, make sure caution doesn't come out before the rest of the lead lap cars cycle through pit stops, or the thunderstorms advance over the speedway.
You could see Tony Stewart going by, though, putting him a lap down. Right now, you wouldn't want to see any rain if you'd just made that pit stop, because it may, get clear again, and he'd be a lap down.
Earnhardt is in, and Robbie Gordon locks up the rear brake, trying to get down to that 55-mile-an-hour speed. These are green flag scheduled pit stops.
One thing you do not want to do is run out of gas on this racetrack. Or if you run out just past the pit road, it's a long, long way back, 2 miles back here coasting. You don't get there very quickly.
Michael Walterson, Jerry Nadeau, Kenny Irwin, Rick Mast, and Wally Dallenbach. All 4 tire stops. And 22 gallons of fuel. Dale Jarrett in the pit lane, and Jeff Burton, Ward Burton, and Jimmy Spencer. Watching overhead, Irwin stop. Left side, there's that window film Buddy spoke of being torn away. 16.7 second stop for Earnhardt, a good one. And here's Mike Skinner making the stop. Dale Jarrett's crew and Ward Burton's. And the leaders are in. Here's Stewart leading Bobby Labonte and Ricky Rudd in, leaving Jeff Gordon on the speedway with the race lead.
That's to get 5 bonus points. Gordon stayed out there one more lap, get those 5 bonus points. I suspect he'll come in the next time. Plus the fact that we've been a little bit crowded on pit road with all those others coming in.
Dick Berggren.
Bobby Labonte on pit road. They're going to change the track bar 1/4 inch. Man in the back just had the wrench in there. This is a good pit stop so far. This crew has been together since 1997. They are one of the most experienced and best crews in the Winston Cup circuit, and under 15 seconds to round.
Norman Conservizu puts the gas in for Ricky Rudd. No chassis changes to this car. This is the same car that he drove to a 4th place finish at Fontana earlier this year, Mike. That's the only other time this car's been in competition.
And Gordon surrenders the lead to come on to pit road. There's Rusty Wallace coming out along with John Andretti and Robert Presley. Jeff Gordon into his pit box. Same song, next verse. 4 tires and fuel. And remember now, those right side tires that come off have to be rolled back to the pit wall, or at least halfway across the pit toward the wall before that car can leave. And that's done as the tire carrier comes around to get the left side tires, and he brings the used tires back to the wall with him. 70 laps. Elliott Sadler is in now. The Melling number 9 for Stacy Compton is in, and so is Chad Little, Scott Pruitt, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Would you believe, Ned, after 13 races, that a rookie would be the circuit's only 2-race winner?
No.
No way.
Even if his name is Earnhardt,
That's
still
right.
would be hard to believe.
Jeffrey Bodine's made a stop as you look from Elliott Sadler's car. Left side tires going on. Mark Martin comes in. And Mike Bliss. And Compton's car has been pushed behind the wall. Stacy Compton.
Mark Martin getting 4 tires as everybody else does. You can change 4 tires almost as quickly as you can put in a tank of fuel when the tank is almost empty.
Exactly right. You notice he didn't have a tear-off shield on his. A lot of guys don't like those things on the windshield because they say it distorts their vision. So they just clean the windshield and he's back underway.
17-second stop for Martin. Murphy's onboard cam. Matt Kenseth is in. One of 2 rookies to win this year. See the brooms at work. The drivers are mainly sweeping those warm lug nuts that came off the car, sweeping them back, and any other little bits of rubber or other debris. And you see the heat that's coming out of that right front hub.
Yeah, that's the brakes where you use them so hard getting in.
17.4 for Kenseth. Here's another of the Jack Roush cars, Kevin LePage.
He had taken over the lead. And Ken Schrader comes down pit road right behind him. Schrader had moved up to 2nd.
And that should just about complete the cycle of pit stops under green. Here's Ken Schrader. A little different look as they mix the sponsors up on that car this week. And LePage right behind him, pulls out. And so without incident, we cycle through a complete green flag pit stop sequence. 17-second stop for LePage. Jeremy Mayfield resumes the lead over Bobby Labonte. Jeff Gordon now 3rd.
And Tony Stewart must have been the big loser on that round of green flag pit stops. He just dropped back to the 6th position. He was battling for the lead and had taken the lead right before they made these pit stops.
We saw his net. He did not appear to have a bad stop.
So it must have been getting in and out or something that cost him.
That, you know, they do a lot of practice, and the lead drivers getting in and out of the pits. Most of the road racers do very, very well, though, getting in and out of the pits.
Right now, he is running about 15 seconds behind Jeremy Mayfield.
Wow.
Actually, the big winner on this round of green flag pit stops is Bill Elliott. Elliott had to stop early for tires, and this puts him back within the sequence so that he is now back on the lead lap and in 8th place. Should a caution flag come out before Elliott needs fuel, he'll be caught right back up with the leaders.
Yes.
There's something had to happen to Tony Stewart. He's not that bad getting in and out of the pits. To be 15 seconds back of all the cars he is running with.
Super 8 Cam on board Bill Elliott, who is now the 8th place car, chasing Jeff Burton.
Now you see him going down the racetrack. He's trying to pick up the draft on the cars. When they're running nose to tail, they stay up against the wall. But when the car in front of you is that far ahead and he moves down the racetrack, you follow him to pick up the draft down the straightaway.
And that car ahead is Jeff Burton, the 7th place car. 75 laps complete here at Michigan Speedway. 100 gets us to halfway. 200 laps, 400 miles is the advertised distance. Jeremy Mayfield, the leader. Tony Stewart and Ricky Rudd swapped the lead early on, as did Bobby Labonte. But now we've had 2 rounds of pit stops. The first under caution when Bobby Hamilton smacked the wall hard at turn 4. He is okay. The car is out of the race. 30 cars remain on the lead lap as we look at 2nd place Bobby Labonte on the left and 3rd place Jeff Gordon to the right behind Jeremy Mayfield. Ricky Rudd, the outside pole sitter, starting his 47th consecutive Michigan race. He is back in the 4th place behind Chad Little's.
And he lost a little ground on that pit stop as well. He's now running about 8 seconds behind the leader, Jeremy Mayfield.
Here's our John Deere Cam on board Chad Little, who is now 2 laps. Check that 1 lap off the lead pace. 23 laps to halfway. There's Rudd, again, the only driver in the top 10 in points, looking for victory lane this year still.
He's been very consistent, though. He's been right up in the top 5 for the last few races, and he told me he thinks the team now is in position to win.
These cars are battling for position 2 lap down for 36th place. Wally Dallenbach and Ed Berrier in the 90th. Here's Dale Jarrett, the 5th place car, and defending race champion.
Elliott Sadler there in the 21. Horrendous crash here for those who just joined us yesterday on the front straightaway. About 195 miles an hour. Turned over 7 or 8 times down the straightaway.
I'll tell you, there's a rabbit missing a foot.
You bet on that.
It's in his pocket. Let's have a look at Sadler's wrenchhead.com telemetry. RPM on the left, speed on the right.
7,500. He starts down the straightaway. That'll go right on past 8,000. About 185, 90. Right at 190, just a little over 195 miles an hour down at the end of the straightaway there.
Almost 200 when he finally lifted. And that's into a headwind going down into turn 1, which is the fastest part of the racetrack. There's got a little bit of a tailwind down the backstretch. Let's see how he does here.
Look at that hot dog wrapper. He's getting a free ride there right on the middle part of the nose of that car. It hit right there on the part that you put the pin through to hold the hood down on.
Sadler, carrying our Citgo onboard camera, moves past Ed Berrier, and that is for position. That's 37. Let's go back up to 2nd place, where Bobby Labonte is trying to hold off the advances of the 24 of Jeff Gordon.
Gordon has to feel good, other than Talladega, where he made some bold moves to win the race down there. This is the most solid run he's had all year long.
A little further back at 9th place, Dale Earnhardt battling Robert Presley and giving over that position. CBS Sports coverage of the Kmart 400 continues after this message and a word from your CBS station.
Kmart 400.
Tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes. Should an 11-year-old who shot and killed a man be tried?
Well, he radioed to his crew just a moment ago, Mike, and said the right rear is going down. This crew is so disenchanted. They really thought they were going to win today. This guy has won here. He's got 5 seconds, 3/3, and a great race car. But the right rear tire has gone flat. This is an unscheduled pit stop. It will be extremely costly for Jeff Gordon. All clear, there he goes for the 15.9 seconds. Good stop, still time. Mike?
Well, precautionary to change all 4 tires in case it wasn't the right rear, but it cost him a lap.
Well, it did. It's impossible to make a pit stop here, even though it's taken them 40 to 41 seconds to go around here at full speed till you slow down and make that 16-second pit stop on pit road, and as slow as you have to run on pit road, then you go a lap down. That's all there is to it. Now, if it goes green, everybody else has to stop. Similar situation to Bill Elliott, well, then he could get back in the cycle if the brakes fall his way.
If they only change the 2 tires, they only save about 6 seconds, and if they're wrong, it's a much bigger problem.
Yeah, you don't ever want to just take on 2, especially when you have to make up as much ground as he has to make up. He needs everything 100%.
Well, we talked this weekend about how this might not be a race of who has the fastest cars, but of who has the least individual problems and make the least mistakes. Things are getting so close in this series that you need a perfect day to get to victory lane.
You do. And certainly right now, Jeremy Mayfield is having the perfect day because he's running out front all by himself, about 5 seconds ahead of Bobby Labonte.
87 laps complete. Let's check with Ken Squire.
Indeed, Mayfield continues to be the story. Let's get an overview from Jerry Glanville of what you've seen so far in this Kmart 400.
Well, I think, again, when you talk to a driver and the driver never mentions the motor, he says, I think I can win this, coach, because of the air. And we watch him make the pass right there. That car's cutting through the air as good as any car out there.
Some time ago, Jeremy Mayfield said to the press, I feel that I'm one that really wants to run, not just take up a spot in the field. I don't want to be there if it's just running around. This game is all about winning. And that's what Mayfield is trying to do right now for the second time this year. Let's join Ralph Shaheen.
Well, Greg Zipadelli is a crew chief for Tony Stewart. Greg, you guys were very fast early on, then you slipped back a little bit. What's wrong with the 20 car?
The car's good. Home Depot Pontiac's run good from the drop of the green. We just had a bad pit stop. Give up about 5-6 seconds here. Boys have done a good job lately. We'll just have to rebound back from it here. Hopefully, we'll be able to overcome this little bit of a problem. But lap times are real good. The car's starting to come around, so we'll just keep plugging away.
And Mike, we heard Tony also saying he was unsure of whether the car wanted to be tight or loose at times, so they're working on getting that car right for Tony.
Well, Zippy didn't sound like a fellow who's too worried.
No, he said the car was coming back, and that's a good thing. If you have a car that on long runs gets better and better, and that's what Tony Stewart has.
We are 10 laps from halfway. Jeremy Mayfield's Ford out in front of Bobby Labonte's Pontiac, Ricky Rudd's Ford, the Ford of Dale Jarrett, and the Pontiac of Tony Stewart are the top 5. First Chevrolet in the race is Dale Earnhardt back in 8th place.
And shouldn't be that big of a surprise that Jeremy Mayfield is running the way that he is. Here's a good battle on the racetrack.
8th place, Earnhardt and Wallace.
We've seen those 2 battle lots of times over the years. But what I started to say about Mayfield, he's one of the 12 winners so far this year, and his win came at the California Speedway. 2-mile racetrack, patterned after this racetrack right here. He had him, well, Matt Kenseth was awfully strong that day also, but nevertheless, Mayfield won the race, and so I'm sure they came here with a similar setup. Here's the 10th place battle, Ned, and it's the point-standing runner-up, Ward Burton. Bill Davis Pontiac, 32, and in Richard Petty's Pontiac, John Andretti, 43.
And Ed Berrier in the 90 there, although he's back in the field, he's running quite well.
1 lap down is Berrier in the 90 car. Stacy Compton's back in the race, the Melling car. Spent some time in the garage. Mark Melling announced yesterday that they would be the 4th Dodge-supported team in the year 2001. Since they'll give their number 9 to Bill Elliott, who made it famous, they will be number 92, Team 9, second time around is the logic, and Compton will be the driver. There's Elliott moving on Kenny Wallace. And we'll check Frito's telemetry on board Rick Mast in the number 14. Jeffrey Bodine in the black number 60 pulling up on the inside of Mast as Kenny Irwin pulls up on the inside of Kyle Petty. So good racing going on here back in the field. Now they're 8,300 RPM at the end of the back stretch. He's going to pass the car expect more at the end of the front stretch.
Well, Mast had to roll out. Right now he's got a pretty good run, but he can't really run down in the corner. He ran up on the corner just in front of him. He backed off a little bit. I would expect him to run a little quicker here. 195, right down into the corner there.
Almost 300 RPM more carried down the front stretch than down the back straight.
Yeah, he ran up on his car pretty quick over there and had to check up a little bit. Let's see what he does now that he has no one in front of him. Well, we'll look later.
10th place battle. And you see the Ward Burton and John Andretti have caught Rusty Wallace. That makes Burton moving up to 9th. And Wallace trying to hold Andretti back at 10th place. Jeremy Mayfield is your leader from Bobby Labonte and Ricky Rudd. We're 5 laps to halfway. Back to the Kmart 400 live on CBS for Michigan Speedway, where in just 3 laps it'll be halfway. And then the eyes to the sky from all around this place will be looking for raindrops. We'll have an official race here in just 3 laps. A concern on the face of these crews, and look at that sky overhead. That is dark.
It is that.
Thunderstorms on the way, and this man, Jeremy Mayfield, until today had only led 1 lap in the June race at Michigan, that in 1997, and now he's out front of Bobby Labonte by 6.5 seconds. It's another 3.5 seconds back to Ricky Rudd in 3rd as you ride with Labonte. And the leader's out there somewhere.
You can see him going in the corner, way up there.
A couple lap cars separating the leader from Bobby Labonte. Then Ricky Rudd, Dale Jarrett's moved up to 4th. Tony Stewart's in 5th. 6th is Jeff Burton. 7th, Robert Presley. 8th, Dale Earnhardt. 9th is Ward Burton. And 10th, John Andretti. Ward Burton continues to work on Earnhardt.
Earnhardt not getting a great run up out of the corner as Burton works all over the back of him there in the 22 car. Ward needs to get up there. He's much in the points race right now, and he needs to get right on up there. He's 2nd, as a matter of fact.
And Earnhardt's 3rd. So they both better get together and get going. What do you think Earnhardt's chances are of that 8th championship?
Boy, he thinks he's got a real good chance at it, and I have to agree with him.
Terrible out here.
We hear the guys talking right now. They're telling him.
Halfway. Jesus, be careful. Keep digging.
There's the crossed flags that everyone today hoped to see. It means this race will be completed today. Even if the rains come, the severity of a shower would determine whether we try to dry the track and wait it out.
In fact, there's some raindrops falling here on our window just as they got that halfway mark.
Drivers leading at halfway have won about 25% of these races, and Bill Elliott will fall off the lead lap as he comes to pit road.
Boy, he wanted to stay out there hoping that rain would come down if it was going to right away, but he had no choice. I mean, he was running low in fuel and had to come in.
Anytime you see it on that camera, it's even more on the windshields of these race cars. And let me explain, they don't run in the rain with Western Cup cars if you're a first-time viewer because they have a slick surface on the tire. It does not have, it's not grooved or anything to repel water, so it's very slick on wet paper.
Elliott made an unscheduled pit stop earlier. That's why he had to come in. He's exhausted his 22-gallon fuel load and had to pit or risk running out of gas. So again, he will go at least 1 lap down to the race leader.
He gets out as quickly as he can, but yes, you're right. He'll be a lap down.
So Ned, that'll leave us 19 cars on the lead lap. The 2 rookies, Kenseth and Earnhardt Jr., are on the tail end of the lead lap behind Johnny Benson, and Jr. is about to go a lap down.
He is about to go a lap down as Jeremy Mayfield pulls up on him, goes on the outside, and puts the 19th place car 1 lap down.
Certainly not making any excuses for Dale Earnhardt Jr., but he has been a sick pup all week. And the first thing he told me, he said, I'll be lucky if I make it all the way. Hanging in there well, but he's a lap down now.
Watching from the Bud cam, as you see a few little raindrop splatters on the camera lens. Now, that's not enough rain for these tires not to stick to the racetrack.
No,
not yet.
It's what we saw on the window here has gone away now, and
Ed, there's a theory. A few years ago at Indianapolis, there was rain everywhere, but once they started the race, it never rained again on the racetrack. And there's a theory that these cars whistling around this racetrack and generating heat create a vortex that the rain clouds seem to move on by, and that one big dark one did just that. It went around this track when it was headed right over it, so maybe it works.
Maybe it does. They stir up a lot of air out here. So
No, guys. I'm not going to buy that. I'm going to tell you, I was leading the race at Pocono one time, and it started raining, and I hit the wall so many times. The guy in the grandstand jumped out and started running to help me. He thought I starved to death before I quit hitting the wall. So let me tell you, that don't work. It can rain.
We're at 104 laps. Mayfield now 6.6 seconds ahead of Labonte. No change there. 10.7 seconds off the lead. Ricky Rudd's Ford. And Dale Jarrett 3 seconds back of Rudd. My favorite Jeremy Mayfield quote ever when he was describing Bristol, Tennessee, that high bank 5/8 mile. And he says, it's kind of like putting the wash in the clothes dryer. You tumble around, you get real hot, and by the end of the day, somebody's lost a sock or two.
Well, Matt Kenseth just in front of him is fixing to go a lap down, too. Young guy's not faring too well today. In California, he was the guy to beat, but today, just a little bit off on his setup.
Kenseth in that car owned by Jack Roush and Mark Martin. Where's the boss today? Here's Mark Martin, our Visa Camp. On board and 21st right now. Mark Martin, he has gone a lap down.
Boy, and it goes back a while since he's had a top 5. I mean, it's just not, the past few races hadn't been like Mark Martin. He's had some bad luck this year.
Chad Little is in for a stop. Going to be 4 tires for his Ford. That'll get him off cycle as well, but Little was already a lap down. Miles an hour down pit road.
Here's the third place car, Ricky Rudd.
Outside. We'll give you room. You're clear.
So Rudd trying to advance on that 11-second deficit to Jeremy Mayfield, the race leader, with Bobby Labonte in second, Rudd in third, and Dale Jarrett fourth. We watch from the Goodyear blimp, Spirit of Goodyear, providing aerial views of today's race. Goodyear, official supplier of tires for NASCAR Winston Cup racing. Jerry Nadeau has made a pit stop, and now Joe Nemechek is in at lap 112. There's Nemechek. And they'll each need one more stop if we can go the advertised 200-lap distance.
Well, I'm beginning to believe you. I see a lot of rain around here, but I'm beginning to believe, hey, the noise may be keeping them awake.
Our RedShed.com telemetry on Joe Nemechek as he gets back up to speed. You see the 2 left side tires are below the yellow line. NASCAR reminded the drivers of that in the meeting this morning, that is a rule, that he stays there, and the leader, we're told, is on pit road. He is. Here's Mayfield.
He stopped earlier than the other drivers of the leaders. He stopped a couple of laps sooner than they did on their other pit stop. So he's coming towards you, Bill.
Ned, you're exactly right. They were planning on coming in on lap 114, and they pushed it up to this lap. They will do a very quick Ford tire and fuel pit stop. Jeremy says this car is next to perfect. He can now run low on the racetrack. He can hold his position. He told Peter Suspenzo that if they don't win this race, it's not because of that race car.
Mayfield away as Rick Mast and Jimmy Spencer come down the pit lane, and Johnny Benson makes a stop all here at lap 113.
Well, you're certain that there's no point, unless you feel the rain is coming here real quick or something, in stretching, because they can make it on one more pit stop after this without having to stretch the fuel mileage.
It's been a real battle for Tony Stewart. Just in front of him, Dale Jarrett's running up there. They've been going back and forth through traffic.
You're watching Johnny Benson stop, waving, motioning to the crew, get that windshield a little more clean so I can see. And Benson's away. Came within a handful of laps of winning at Daytona. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., who is a lap down, comes onto the pit lane. So we're on green flag pit stops once again. Jeffrey Bodine coming in with him. .85 laps to go. That would mean one more stop. Only car out of the race is Bobby Hamilton. Stacy Compton's had several trips to the garage but come back out. each time.
Making an adjustment to the right rear of there. They're not pleased with the handling of the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And it's Bobby Labonte now. Up there, Ricky Rudd was in that battle.
Rudd has dropped back now. Jeff Gordon, after that unscheduled pit stop, is getting, I believe, back on the lead lap.
He's fighting very hard, as a matter of fact. He didn't quite get by Bobby Labonte. But he has the fresher tires. He should be able to make the move.
There's Burton coming down pit road.
Just ahead of them, Mark Martin is trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap.
Mark had gone a lap down to Jeremy Mayfield, but when Mayfield made a pit stop, that put him back on the lead lap.
Martin, a former winner of the June race at Michigan, is going to go a lap down. Dick?
Well, Jeff Burton has made his pit stop on pit road, Mike. The right side is all done. Tony Gilderly is doing the rear tires on that thing. This whole crew, except the jack man, works in the shop. Unusual in today's big league stock car racing.
As he goes out, Ricky Rudd comes in, and the Robert Yates, number 28.
Our Haviland onboard camera riding with Rudd. Burton stop under 16 seconds.
Dale Earnhardt comes in, Ford Burton comes in, Rusty Wallace. These are all scheduled pit stops, and Bobby Labonte about to peel off and come into the pits.
So Labonte will come in, and that would hand the lead to Dale Jarrett for the first time today, but Jarrett is also pitting, as is Tony Stewart. Bill?
Down here with the number 22, Mike, Ward Burton. They are making tire pressure changes to this car to try to correct a pushing condition, adding the fuel, and away he goes, an excellent pit stop.
Dick Berggren.
Bobby Labonte is in his pit stall. The other 2 pit stops, they have made major changes in the chassis, and sure enough, there goes the wrench in the back end again, trying to adjust it still a little bit more. The car, however, is better than it has been all day for Labonte, which is typical. They adjust him to be faster and faster.
This will be quite a group running together when they come out, because Labonte will have Jarrett and Stewart exiting the pits right behind him. Then a little further back, Michael Waltrip, Brett Bodine, Robert Cressley, and Terry Labonte getting service.
Jarrett with a 15.58 second pit stop. Tony Stewart had a 16.1. So those guys in the pits are cranking out some pit stops.
This will give the lead to John Andretti next time he comes past. Ralph?
Mike, with Tony Stewart, they changed 4 tires, put in fuel, did a little bit of the air pressure on the tires, and also went up 1 round on the track bar. They're also keeping an eye on the temperatures of the car. Got a little bit hot near the end of that run, but Tony hadn't run with the fan on the entire run, so he switched on just at the end. They're going to wipe the grill off as well, but not too worried. They think those temperatures will come right back down.
Thanks, Ralph. John Andretti surrenders the lead as he comes in for his pit stop. Dick Berggren?
He almost went over the line, Mike. The nose of that car, he stopped right at the yellow line. Had he gone over that, he would have had to have backed the car up, which under a green flag stop would have been absolutely disastrous. All in all, Andretti has a good stop.
Kenny Wallace is in. Dave Blaney, the rookie. Mike Skinner. Kyle Petty. All getting serviced at lap 119. This will give the lead back to Mayfield. And Matt Kenseth is shown as the second place car, but here Kenseth comes to pit road.
As Kyle Petty gets his service and headed out, Mike Skinner gets his service and headed back out onto the racetrack.
There's Kenseth coming to a stop. Kyle Petty rolls past. Windshield film off. 2 right side tires. First can of gas in all in about 9 seconds. Another 7 or 8 seconds to put that second can of gas in and change the left side tires. Here is your leader, Jeremy Mayfield, now 6 seconds ahead of Jeff Gordon.
So Gordon has now, with all of the green flag pit stops, as we said, could happen that he would cycle right back in. Of course, now he's going to have to stop a lot quicker than the others the next time around. Here's Kyle Petty.
Mark Martin is in. Kyle Petty, yesterday afternoon, Ned, there's a fence that separates the driver's compound and then a roadway and then another fence in the fans. After practice is concluded, Kyle Petty was out there probably for an hour or more signing autographs and meeting with the fans. Something that's not seen all that often in these days of drivers' harried schedules and sponsor commitments, but he was out there meeting with the folks and signing just like his dad taught him. There's a look at him as He was out there posing for pictures, signing autographs, and you note he's wearing Adam Petty's hat with the 45 on the front.
I tell you, that says a lot for the man to do that after the grieving and what they've been through for the last couple of weeks after Adam's accident in New Hampshire that took his life.
You're exactly right. And he told everyone that it was over. He didn't think it was going to be certainly anything that was going to make him forget Adam at all, but he could cope with it. He thought if he got back to life into this.
And with Richard Petty in that press conference in Charlotte that told everybody in racing, that's what we've got to do, is let's go and get on with it. Once again, it's the Pettys that kind of take racing's eternity by the hand and tell them which direction to go in to get going and get on. It is Jeremy Mayfield, the leader, Jeff Gordon in second, Bobby Labonte in third. Here's your second place battle. Labonte closing in.
Well, Labonte has the fresher tires because he made a pit stop many laps after Gordon did. Should give him a little bit of an advantage. Although Gordon has run well here today.
Where it's going to show up is right now when he gets back in the throttle. You can see he makes a move to the bottom side and just goes right on by.
Our Circuit City onboard camera with Labonte, and here comes Gordon around the high side.
Handling pretty good down the straightaway, Gordon is, but when they hit the straightaway, just don't have that great grip.
Well, they'll keep battling for second, and we'll be back to see it. Mayfield is 8.3 seconds ahead of this battle for second place. Dale Jarrett is 3 seconds behind it.
In this $2.3 million Kmart 400, see the lead changes 8 times, and rather 14 times among 8 leaders. A couple of cars have fallen out, and they're running about 6.5 miles per hour off that record that Dale Jarrett set a year ago at 173 miles per hour. That brought around by the one caution that we've had in the race when Bobby Hamilton hammered the wall. We watch those leaders coming by. This is a battle for third that's developing right now. Jeff Gordon is the man of the moment, but Dale Jarrett, last year's winner, is definitely closing ground on him right there, Jerry.
I think the big difference for Dale Jarrett, that's a 2000 Taurus, and he dominated last year with that 1999 Taurus. And because of the rule changes in the new Chevrolet, there's different aerodynamics for both cars. One thing on this sequence here, Bill Elliott is on a different sequence in tire changes. He's crawled back to 13th, but Billy Elliott's in trouble unless there's a caution because he's slow when everybody else is fast because of his tire change sequence.
One more fuel stop to take them home today. And surprisingly, as Mike Joy was pointing out, the weather seems to be circumnavigating around this 2-mile track, Michael.
It's hard to believe, Ken, but we've seen it several times when there's thundercloud activity. It comes in here and somehow just manages to skirt the speedway. And there's a little sun on some of the windshields. There's a little blue sky here. Hard to believe the way we started the day. It's all blue sky in front of Jeremy Mayfield. He has a 7-second lead on Bobby Labonte. Dale Jarrett now to third over Jeff Gordon. And there's a look at Mayfield. Clear track in front of him, the whole length of the front straightaway. Ned, as we said at the top of the show, Dale is not going to go and make this a boring race, but he is coming toward the front.
Well, his car is really moving right now. He and Tony Stewart came out of the pits together after the green flag pit stop, and DJ has just pulled away from Tony Stewart. He has been gaining on Jeremy Mayfield. He was about 12 seconds behind. He's cut it down now to about 10 seconds. So his car is on the move, but if anybody's stinking up the show today, it's Jeremy Mayfield.
Yes. Well, behind Jarrett and Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart 15 seconds back. Ricky Rudd has fallen to 6th on the pit stops, running with Stewart, trying to work their way back to the front. And right now, Bill Elliott is the last car on the lead lap in 13th. 13 cars on the lead lap, and there are Stewart and Rudd, 5th and 6th place.
Boy, Rudd ran him down from quite a good distance back, and you can see much quicker getting into the corner.
And here are the two leading rookies battling, Kenseth and Earnhardt Jr. This is for 19th place, 1 lap back.
They've been together quite a bit today as you watch this battle here between Rudd passing Tony Stewart on the inside. And you're right, but he came from way back. He was about 4 or 5 seconds behind Tony Stewart. So Stewart's car with this set of tires on it is not running as well as it did before.
No, and the 28 there, he just goes right on by, and they'll be lucky if Tony Stewart can just hang on and draft with him.
They are 5th and 6th. Behind them is Jeff Burton, Dale Earnhardt, Robert Presley, Ward Burton, Rusty Wallace, John Andretti, and Bill Elliott on the lead lap. Let's go back to the rookies.
Looking back at Kenseth's car, the yellow one there, able to run pretty slow, and these guys are going at it right now. They have a point system going too. They want to win the Rookie of the Year, so they're battling not only to try to win as many races as they can this year, they want to win the Rookie of the Year also.
And that's a tough call because Earnhardt has 2 wins to Kenseth's 1, but Kenseth has more rookie points right now.
Because he's been more consistent in the races that Earnhardt was not up front. He had some DNFs and finished pretty far back. Mark Martin making an unscheduled pit stop as we look at this on the racetrack.
Looking back from Chad Little's car. He not quite as good as Dale Earnhardt Jr. getting in the corner.
And Stewart and Ricky Rudd continue to battle there for 5th place. Here's Dick.
Mike, this is an unscheduled pit stop. They think they had a loose wheel on Mark Martin's car, and that's kind of the perfect ending for an unhappy weekend. They have not been happy with his car since they unloaded it, and they changed it all sorts of things on the car. It was the left rear that had been loose on Mark Martin's car.
And Jeff Gordon is in. Now this would be scheduled because he was off the pit stop cycle. So it's a scheduled stop for Jeff Gordon at lap 135, and he will again fall off of the lead lap.
Mike, I've just been doing a little bit of calculating, was about to say that he's not going to be able to make it on one more pit stop. He can't go from here to the end if this thing should go green. So he's going to go a lap down on this pit stop. Dick?
Jeff Gordon is in now. They had hoped that they were going to get a caution flag so that they could pit with everybody else, but that just did not happen. So Gordon is still paying the price for that tire problem he had earlier today when he had to make an unscheduled pit stop. He remains out of sequence.
So at lap 136 of 200, Jeremy Mayfield leads Bobby Labonte by 7 seconds. Dale Jarrett remains 10 seconds off the lead. Tony Stewart and Ricky Rudd are 16 seconds back of this man, Kentucky's Jeremy Mayfield. CBS Sports coverage of the Kmart 400 continues after this message and a word from your CBS station. Laps complete here at Michigan Speedway. Jeremy Mayfield remains out front. For latest standings and in-depth NASCAR coverage, click on racing at cbs.sportsline.com or on AOL, it's keyword CBS Sportsline. July 1st, the Hot Wheels of NASCAR return to Daytona under the lights for the Pepsi 400. Dale Jarrett's the defending race champion. You'll see it in prime time here on CBS Sports. The preview show at 5 p.m. Eastern and at 8 p.m. live flag-to-flag coverage of the Pepsi 400. Here in Michigan, fans listening in to their favorite drivers and crews and spotters.
Let me tell you, if you've never done that, get a scanner one race and listen. You won't believe it.
We're at 141 laps, 59 to go. And 2 laps ago, Tony Stewart may have brushed the wall because his next lap speed was a very gingerly 172, and they've been running 176 or 7.
Dad, I'm not sure whether he hit the wall or not, but he was definitely flirting with it.
He was awfully close to it, and his lap speeds have fallen off. He and Rudd were battling there for position a little while ago. Now he's dropped off a couple of seconds behind Rudd.
He's within 2 seconds of falling into the clutches of 6th place Jeff Burton. Upper left, you see Jeff Gordon picked up a spot last lap, so his position is shown in green. If it's shown in red, that's a driver who lost a position last time by.
Well, what Jeff Gordon's got to hope for right now, because he is out of sequence, is everybody makes their pit stop, the last stop, and then a caution comes out, puts him back in there where he can pick up tires and get back in sequence with everybody.
Well, we talked about the weather here this afternoon, buddy, and there is another dark cloud coming up here behind the grandstand.
Yeah.
So here's a look at Gordon, who was dropped off the lead lap to 21st position. Bill Stevens.
Mike, Jeremy Mayfield's run up front has not been without its element of drama today. For a while, he lost 3rd gear. Then he lost radio contact with the crew. They got that corrected. And now the issue of fuel mileage. Of all the drivers out there, Jeremy may be the one who's been victimized most by running out of fuel. He told me this morning 9 or 10 times he has lost a race because of it. They are already beginning to calculate what they will need to get to the checkered flag under power. To Dick Berger.
Well, Mike Joy, a few minutes ago, you guys were talking about what you hear on the radio scanners. We listen to them down here on pit road, and usually you hear about push and loosen, suspension, and that sort of thing. Today, it sounds like an extended weather report. The crews are all talking back and forth about how hard to run, what strategies they should use, and Bobby Labonte's crew just told him that they think in 20 minutes it's going to rain here. Labonte is in second spot right now. To Ralph.
Well, Dick, Tony Stewart's car did not hit the wall. He didn't scrape the wall either, but the car has gotten very loose on them. They had a tire that had equalized on the last run, apparently, and now the car has gotten very loose with the adjustments they had made, and Tony is just fighting the race car, but he has not made contact with the wall.
Well, with 55 laps to go, we've talked about how this could be a fuel mileage race. If this last stop is made under green, some drivers may be able to come in a little later as Dale Jarrett drops to the bottom of the racetrack chasing number 18 Bobby Labonte, and some drivers may need to add less fuel to get to the finish, and that may mean a little bit of a quicker pit stop. It all adds up.
Boy, I tell you, it's coming down to just what you can do. But somebody that can do is doing it right now, the 88 of Dale Jarrett. If he was up there with Mayfield right now, his lap times are right up there with Mayfield. He's catching Bobby Labonte every lap, about 2 car lengths.
About 10 laps ago, he was almost 3 seconds behind Bobby and running down. Of course, as we've said so many times, catching somebody and passing them is 2 different things.
He has, though, Ned, only gained about 1 second on the race leader. Mayfield continues to lap this track at 177 miles an hour.
Exactly.
So it's really Labonte who's fallen back into the clutches of Jarrett.
Yeah, but when you say only a second, that's almost a football field when you're running the 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, but when you're 10 seconds behind, or a little over 9 right now, that 1 second doesn't make a great deal of difference.
Well, there's 54 laps and 1 pit stop at least yet to go. Still anybody's race at Michigan. Mayfield leading Bobby Labonte, Jarrett, Rudd, and Stewart. It's like the track is a fry pan and somebody's just put the lid on it. Look at that storm cloud overhead, and it is putting some rain down on the speedway. We are under the caution flag for only the 2nd time in a row, and the rain is coming from the north. It's coming from turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's coming from 1 and 2 also, Mike, as I look out my window over here.
So much for the theory about noise keeping the clouds
noise
away.
And the heat. It worked for a while, but the folks up in turns 3 and 4 were wet before the drivers and cars, and now it is just pelting. The speedway and our CBS cameramen are also running for cover. Neil McCaffrey, who's been on every CBS race telecast since we first did Daytona in '79. And Neil is going to lose the Extreme Games weather gear putting on contest. The flags are straight out and the rain is pouring down on this speedway. They'll red flag it and bring the cars to a safe halt. Now the one man is smiling under this rain, and that is Bill Elliott. You're on board his camera right now, and the caution flag, only the 2nd today, allowed Elliott to stay on the lead lap, and that'll be a big help if we can get this race restarted.
He got by Jeremy Mayfield right at the flag and got that lap back.
But Jeremy Mayfield wouldn't mind seeing it continue to rain. He'd have the victory. Dale Jarrett just passed Bobby Labonte on the lap before the caution came out for 2nd place.
Ned, they're going to put the red flag out. I'll guarantee you. It's raining so hard you can't see right now, and these cars get really wicked with slick tires as you run around there with it raining hard as it is.
And the pit crews are putting down tarps to try to keep the pit box where the car stops as dry as possible, and right now that is a futile gesture.
Boy, it's a gray out. We can't even see the front straightaway, and we're right on it.
It's just as if somebody turned on the faucet and threw a bucket of water from turns 3 and 4 all the way down this racetrack.
Well, when it came, it teased us a little bit with some sprinkles, and then when it came, man, the bottom dropped out.
I hate to tell you guys, but I'm the only one up here with an umbrella. Wait a minute.
You now have friends, I promise you. Well, fortunately, on an elevated platform, Ken Squire and Jerry Glanville are working on the arc. Well, Well, the pace car, second pace car, is now coming out from the garage area, and they're going to. The crews are now working their way down into turn number 1, but the cars continue to circulate. And now the beginning of the field is coming off turn 4, and this time coming on to pit road for the red flag.
That's what they'll do. They'll bring them down pit road, and we'll stop them. And
now again, remember, Ned, we talked about how these cars have slick tires, and the drivers down in turn 1 they're going to have a time with no windshield wipers and slick tires getting themselves back around to pit lane and parked for this red flag. One nice thing about being on the western edge of the Eastern time zone is that it stays light here until about 9 o'clock. So the NASCAR and International Speedway Corporation officials will have a look at the rain and the duration of this storm and see if the track can be dried in time to return to racing. Well, you have friends.
Ah, yes.
Neil McCaffrey's finally made it.
I knew he was smart.
If there is a plus, so there's no lightning and thunder going on right now. It's just a lot of rain, so it'll take a while to dry it if they even think about doing that.
Ken, is it dry down there?
Oh, it's wonderful down here. We have all the comforts of home. We have our shower working at the present time. We've lost our ad libs. They're gone, so Glanville's gone. Glanville said he wanted to stay at least to see 300 miles. I bet you're glad you stayed.
Well, I want to know what the plus was that Buddy said we had. Buddy, what was the plus? No light? I want to know what the plus was that Buddy said we had down here. There's no pluses down here, Buddy.
Well, hey, when you get around to it, sitting here in the rain, look out behind you. All around here, 136,000 people. Half of them are still in the grandstand in the pouring rain.
And that's what makes this sport really special. I got here on a Wednesday, and I think what it is, this sport is really a family weekend event. And yesterday for the ARCA race and for qualifying, 80,000 people, and you can go out here in the parking lot, and I think that's why racing is catching all the other sports and passing most of them, because it's a family weekend event.
Now, listen. Where are we going to see Glanville's next performance on the track? You've run over 100 tracks. What's next?
We're going to Toledo on June 23rd, a Friday night, and really, Buddy told me he likes Toledo, and Benny Parsons says you can be fast in Toledo. It's banked just like this track, a half-mile long.
Is this more fun than the NFL today?
It's all fun. I can't believe that, I get to do all this and be with a great guy like you. You told me to write. You wrote that down.
Right.
Be with a great guy like you. You hit me with the microphone. He hit me with the microphone.
I was going to hit you with the umbrella, but I can't find it. All right, let's get out of here and get back to Mike Joy where it's comfortable.
Well, it's the driest spot in the house. Tony Stewart gets an umbrella, and they will cover up these cars. And NASCAR has their own weather radar. They're also in touch with flight services. They'll take a look at how big a storm system this is. It has just poured rain down here. This was not a shower. This was a bath. We're under the red flag at Michigan. Jeremy Mayfield leads Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte, Ricky Rudd, and Tony Stewart. We're under a rain delay, a red flag for rain, and there's Bill Elliott, the one happy guy in the place because he's now back on the lead lap. We'll be right back. In near darkness.
Cale, I know you're going to give the folks back home some good pictures.
Well, we're going to try, Ned. I hope it's all out the rear view. We're going to try to stay up front.
Good luck.
Here comes Waltrip to the inside. They're going down into turn number 3. It's just about equal. Waltrip is on the inside. Yarborough is on the outside, and he just gets through. Cale Yarborough is coming down, and he's going to do it. He has won the Michigan 400 in incredible style. Whoa, Waltrip and Yarborough getting into it at the end of the race. And Waltrip spins out.
But you were not very pleased with what happened. What did happen out there, Darrell?
And we made a little contact, but no problem.
So it's over, and it's a second place.
No problem.
Back in front, Elliott holding on, trying to win his first super speedway race in second. Man who's never won this race. Darrell Waltrip, and here comes Earnhardt. And a character right out of one of the best of Mark Twain. Stays out in front and draws away. The winner of the Michigan 400 as the crowd stands and cheers the Elliott family of Dawsonville, Georgia. Here they come. Last lap to decide it all. Earnhardt Winston Cup champion, trying to hold off Davey Allison. Allison is making his move. He closes. He pulls up. He's pulling alongside. Davey Allison on the high side. Earnhardt on the bottom. Here they come to the line. Allison trying to drop low as they come to the line. It will be by 4 or 5 car lengths. Car number 3. And Ricky Rudd won't let go. Smoke pouring out of 43.
Fire coming
Engine goes away on Petty's car. He's trying to control. He loses it. It's spinning toward the infield. Coming back up.
Beautiful
piece of driving. Beautiful. Great save.
But what a great day for Ricky Petty for so long, and then to have to end this way.
And the winner today is Bill Elliott. The Ford has come back to win here at Michigan, where it won 3 in a row. Ernie Elliott being congratulated. 10 laps to go. It's 18 seconds between Martin in first, Rudd in second.
Martin stayed out another lap. They can't afford to run out of fuel, though, man. That thing, you know, if it runs out, you've lost the whole battle this time. I believe he's out.
I think he's run out of fuel.
Ran out of fuel going down the back straightaway.
And across the line, the checkers are out, and Ricky Rudd has pulled it off.
Oh, Michael Waltrip is a little upset here at Lake Speed.
Michael Waltrip went over and had words and maybe more with car number 9.
Here he comes, around, headed for checkers. Ernie Irvan is finally going to win. The track that nearly did him in. Ernie Irvan for the checkered flag, and he's won the Michigan 400.
Started about 10 laps to go, started getting tears in my eyes. But, I tell you, it's great. Only in America.
A lot of years and a lot of great races here.
Well, anybody that does not think that the Ernie Irvan story is the one that everybody was, I mean, everybody in the infield, everybody in the grandstand, and everybody across the United States was pulling for Ernie Irvan. The racetrack that almost took his life, he comes back and wins that. That's my favorite.
Yeah, that was a very, very special day. No question about that. Of course, you know, being a dad and have a son win his first NASCAR Winston Cup race, it wasn't in the June race here at Michigan, but it was in August when DJ beat the late Davey Allison by 8 inches to the line, and that was a special one for me.
A sad note amongst those highlights doing that 1982 interview of Darrell Waltrip was Larry Newber of Indianapolis, who helped get ESPN on the air with auto racing coverage. This past week, Newber passed away of a stroke while working at home, and he'll be missed by the entire auto racing community. We are under the red flag as they clean up rain here at Michigan, hopeful of getting this race restarted. We will be back to the Michigan Speedway, but first this message and then the Payne Weber CBS Sports Desk with Craig Bolerjack.
Here in 7th position at the moment.
Let's use our Fritos onboard telemetry. We'll take you inside racing with Fritos and have a look at drafting and its importance at these 177-mile-an-hour speeds.
Well, we see the air that's blowing across the top, the blue air and the red air blowing across the sides, and it's not blowing directly on the hood of the second car. That's why that second car can run faster, because it's not having to open up the air and it's not closing back in on that front car. So many times he can build up momentum and pull up the side of the car and maybe even pass the car in front of him as a result of the draft.
And sometimes when gas is at a premium, you can run back there in the second car 3/4 throttle and save a little fuel when you're drafting along, because that front car is going through the air and pulling you along.
Well, buddy, we've had drivers complain of a push today. We've had drivers complain of being loose. Lots of different handling characteristics evident on this racetrack today.
Well, push is one thing that you really don't ever want, because if the front of the car loses grip and goes up the racetrack, and the only way to stop it from climbing the hill is back off the throttle. So not a favorable thing.
And it's abusive to that right front tire, too. And the loose situation that we hear so much about, if the driver complains about the car being loose, then that means the back end is not sticking as well. When you go into the corner, a lot of times that back end will just break loose and you have to chase it up the racetrack. And, of course, that costs you a lot of time. You have to back off the gas, and the man behind you might go by.
That's how Fritos takes us inside the race for a look at handling characteristics. How's Bill Stevens handling?
I'm doing all right, and so is Tony Uri Sr. He's got a hot dog down there. He's trying to whip down a little lunch before we get back to work. But, Tony, now that we've had that gully washer out there and it's washed a lot of the rubber off the track, are you expecting it to be a little bit different out there for the race cars?
Well, the blow dryers always make it a little greasier with diesel fuel and kerosene they burn, but more than likely the racetrack's going to tighten up after they get that rubbed off of it a little bit. That's probably what we don't need because our car's already too tight anyway. It's so tight we can't get it freed up, so we definitely don't need to get tighter, but I'm afraid that's what's going to happen.
You think you'll have to bring Dale Jr. in after a few laps to get a feel for the car and maybe make another adjustment on it?
Well, we're going to make one big adjustment here because there probably won't be no more cautions and probably run to the end. Everybody will be able to make it from here, so we're going to make one big one. I hope it ain't too big, but we need a big one. We're pretty tight.
Well, let him finish his snack and send it back up to you.
And we get set for the command. The drivers have been ordered back to their cars. You see that the track is completely dry. There are some damp areas on pit road, but the sun is out. Directly over the start-finish line, there is a big hole in the clouds, blue sky, and the sun beating down on this racetrack will do more than anything else to get all this dry, and we're just about set to go racing. There's the blue sky just overhead the main grandstand, and they've fired them up.
Noise
from the grandstand as well. A hardy bunch, these NASCAR fans. They have come back in and refilled these grandstands. A little bit soggy.
Boy, just very few people left, and I mean, it rained very, very hard for about 20 minutes there where you couldn't see across the racetrack. But these guys, they run up under the grandstands, wait on it to quit, and then go right back to the seats.
And many of them just flat drowned. I mean, they just got wet, just got soaked because it came so quick that you know, people didn't realize that it was raining that hard until it was down on them.
You're exactly right. I think some of them are swimming back upstream. It was washed into the creeks around here. It was really raining hard.
Yeah, nobody had a chance to get out of the grandstands to escape the rain.
No, so they just simply got wet.
So they fire the engines. We're getting set to go back to racing here at Michigan Speedway. We will be right back. Welcome back to Michigan Speedway. Mike Joy with Buddy Baker and Ned Jarrett. There is blue sky overhead, and the cars are back on track. Time of the red flag, 1 hour, nearly 1 hour, 34 minutes. Jeremy Mayfield out ahead of Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte, Ricky Rudd, and Tony Stewart, the top 5. Jeff Burton, Dale Earnhardt, Robert Presley, Rusty Wallace, and John Andretti, the top 10. Ward Burton, Sterling Marlin, and Bill Elliott are the other cars that are still on the lead lap. And Elliott really got a break with the timing of the rain. He was in danger of going a lap down.
As a matter of fact, he was a lap down. And he got by Jeremy Mayfield as he came to the flag. I think Jeremy might have backed off and let him go, Buddy, or
yeah, that's exactly what he did. He backed off the throttle and let Bill Elliott get back in the lead lap.
So there's from Elliott's Super 8 cam a look back at Stacy Compton, who is 39 laps off the pace after spending some time in the garage. Hello. Boom.
Well, now Jeremy didn't come in that time where pit road open. Now we see one car coming down pit road, but pit road was not open. It was closed. Okay, so Brett Bodine chose to come down anyway, which means that he'll have to, there's the man waving the flag that is closed. Brett Bodine did come in, but he'll have to go to the end of the longest line. But Brett is already several laps down. He had a cylinder problem early in the race.
And Mark Martin has also come in. Our Visa onboard camera riding with Mark. Now he is 3 laps down.
Hey, he's going to the garage.
Wow.
Wow. He must, something when he fired that thing up must have gone wrong in the engine. He's pulling it right into the garage area. Ralph?
What's wrong, Ralph?
Mike, we knew this was coming. Mark Martin and his crew have been up in the transporter ever since the race came to a red flag halt. They have been so fed up with the handling of this car all weekend long that they decided they would take advantage of this opportunity and make an absolute major adjustment to this car. They're planning on changing springs and shocks even. They've been talking about different things. You can see Sean Parker working on the raising the wedge up in the car. Mark Martin's actually climbing out of the car. They're going to do some major adjustments to this car and hope they can get him done in time so he can rejoin the race.
So they're going to use the balance of this race as a test.
Absolutely, and you know, once you get that many laps down here at Michigan, you're not going to make them up, no matter how good the car. So he's doing a very smart thing.
You might wonder why Martin would do this as pit road opens up, because he is 5th in the point standings. But there are only 3 positions on the racetrack at risk from where he was running, Ned. So he's only going to give up 9 Winston Cup points by going to the garage to make these changes and then come back out.
He was already 3 laps down. So now we'll see the leaders come in, I'll bet. Jeremy Mayfield peels off down to the inside. Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte.
Yeah, you can see the green flag right in that area up there. This is definitely waving, and cars on the lead lap are coming in right now.
They'll all take on 4 tires, make some adjustments. They've had plenty of time to talk about what adjustments they'll make, and the changes in the racetrack as a result of the rain. A lot of things to consider.
Bill Stevens.
There will not be many adjustments on this car, Ned. Jeremy Mayfield has consistently said that the car is about as great as it could get. This is the car that won in California. Remember, he fell a lap down in that race and came back and won it. So they'll go 4 tires with gas, and away he goes. Oh, and the catch can man just grabs the catch can in time to Dick Berggren.
Well, Bobby Labonte just left here at a 15-second pit stop. They took 2 rounds of wedge out of that car. They've been troubled with a push all day. This was the most important adjustment they'll make. This is the run to the finish.
A couple of cars came in with that group that were not on the lead lap. And we'll check that in a moment. Ralph?
Well, Mike, we've caught up with Mark Martin. Mark, this is a pretty aggressive move here. What are you going to do to the car, and why such a wild change?
Well, we're just in a situation where we can't gain a whole lot and really can't lose a whole lot. So we had a bad day, and we're going to use this to try something different.
Does this actually become more like a test session now?
We're going to get a jump on things that we feel like that we need to head in that direction, you know. Not much to lose here, you know, and probably not much to gain either. We're 38, and wasn't many cars that were 2 laps down, and so, hey, we're going to make some changes.
Well, Mike, that is a championship approach to it, really, when you think about it, because you got to look beyond. You got to assess the situation, realize where you're at, see what you can do to improve next week.
Yeah, I would agree, Ralph. Now, Kenny Irwin has just had a very long stop. The left side of his car was jacked up for quite a long time. He was one of those 3 drivers who were not on the lead lap, who came in with the lead lap cars, and I think they took that risk because they knew they would have a very long stop. So here are the cars 1 or more laps down coming to pit lane. Jeff Gordon, who fell out of the pit stop sequence. Johnny Benson is in. There's Matt Kenseth and Dick Berggren.
Well, Gordon's in for what should be his final pit stop of the day. No significant changes to the chassis on this car. That's not the reason they're down a lap. It was that problem with the tire that they had early on. Good pit stop going. Good pit stop out. 15-2.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., the first of those cars off the pit lane, then Gordon and Terry Labonte. And coming in for the second time is Chad Little, as you watch from the Bud cam over the shoulder of Dale Earnhardt Jr. And here's Little, the John Deere cam, coming down past the end of pit road and past the lollipop stop go sign and back out into action. Irwin is back in. This time they're going to have a look at right side tires, and they're also still looking at something under the left side of the car. There is the possibility that there was a right side tire violation on Jeremy Mayfield's pit stop. We're checking into that and whether or not he may get penalized. Dick?
Yeah, we've heard that down here on pit road again, Mike, and if that's the case, he'll go to the end of the longest line, and the transmission also sounds bad, according to the driver. So things have really gone wrong for our race leader before that caution flag.
Also, Jeff Burton, who came out of the pits in 5th place. We're told that Burton exceeded the pit road speed limit on exit, and he will have to go to the end of the line. Bill Stevens.
I'm with Peter Suspenzo, crew chief for Jeremy Mayfield. Tire violation, back to the longest line. What happened?
It hit just hit the gas man and it rolled back out on pit road. So,
boy, that's a tough break. And as we saw at the end of that pit stop, Mike, the catch can was still stuck in the car when Jeremy took off.
Well, there's 2 ways, Bill, of obeying this new rule that requires the people working on the right side of the car to get the tires that come off the car back toward the wall. One way is for the tire carrier to bring the tire, carry it to the wall, and hand it off to someone. The other way is to step to the edge of the car and roll it back toward the wall where someone catches it. And in this case, the tire rolled and bounced off the gas man and didn't get that far.
Well, I'm glad I'm up here and not in that 12 car when they drop that green flag, because I'm guaranteeing you one thing. It's going to look like a tornado coming up through the field. He can't be a happy man right now.
He'll be 13th back there, 12th or 13th back there with Jeff Burton, who was also penalized. So here's the way they came off pit road after what may well be the most important stop of the day. The defending Winston Cup and race champion Dale Jarrett is the leader. There you see he came in second, came out first. Bobby Labonte picked up a spot, so did Ricky Rudd, and so did Tony Stewart. That's the way they're running, and there's Jarrett's crew. Behind Stewart, Dale Earnhardt is the first Chevy in the field. He's now up to 5th. And Rusty Wallace will move to 6th. John Andretti, Robert Presley, Ward Burton, Sterling Marlin, Bill Elliott, then Jeff Burton and Jeremy Mayfield. Those will be the lead lap cars. Looks like only a lap or so we get set to go green here.
Yeah, I think we're set to go green when they come back, Mike. They're all lined up, double file.
Lights are off on the pace car there.
So they'll complete lap 156, 44 to go. Fuel should not be an issue. But which of the 13 drivers on the lead lap can win it? We're back under green. And look at Mayfield. He's off the picture way at the top of the screen. He is about an 1/8 of a lap behind, way back.
Probably on that transmission problem that he had. He just simply couldn't get up through the gears. Probably had to start off in 4th or either switch directly from 2nd to 4th, and that would have killed the engine down.
Bobby Labonte looks for the lead. Here comes Ricky Rudd also on the low side. Labonte goes around Dale Jarrett, but
Wow.
can he complete the pass?
That's power. He's going by on the high side by side down the front straightaway as they battle for the lead.
Well, they know that there's a possibility that more rain might move in, and so before they have time to finish this thing.
And Ricky Rudd is right there.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. there in the 8 car. He's trying to get back on the lead lap as he's fighting there just in 4th spot as picture comes by. Certainly not 4th in the lineup.
Big pack at the front of the field is Rudd. Joins up side by side with Jarrett, chasing Labonte, and here comes DJ on the bottom.
He's not giving up at all. He does not get the brake run up out of the center part of the corner, but as he gets to that straightaway, that 88 car is strong.
Yeah, but Rudd pushing Bobby Labonte down the straightaway, drafting together there, that's going to help Labonte beat him into the corner.
Side by side, the Robert Yates teammates. You're riding with Ricky Rudd. Right inside him, Dale Jarrett.
Another car that's moved in there, Tony Stewart. That orange car back there has moved right up into the fray now. He's just behind Jarrett as they head into turn 3.
Took Stewart 13 races to win his first of the year. Could he win 2 in a row? Let's ride with the Home Depot cam on board Tony Stewart. Jeremy Mayfield has worked his way through 1/3 of the field. Now runs in 12th. He's passed Jeff Burton. Still way back. 5.5 seconds off the lead.
2 Yates cars and the 2 Gibbs cars up there in the first 4 position is Bobby Labonte. Then one of the Yates cars of Ricky Rudd. Then the other Gibbs car in 3rd place there as Earnhardt Jr. pulls Tony Stewart right on by Ricky Rudd. Now it's Gibbs cars running 1, 2, Yates cars 3 and 4.
Remember, the Dale Earnhardt Jr. is 1 lap down, trying to get up to Bobby Labonte and get back on the lead lap. Jeff Gordon battling there with Terry Labonte. Labonte's had quite a day. Had to take a provisional. Came all the way up to 17th. Rusty Wallace in 6th place, looking for some room. That number 2 car.
There they do in the 25. They're trying to get by the 5 car there. Terry Labonte just behind them. The 2 car there, Rusty Wallace.
Clear.
Wallace and Presley for position. Now here's Jeremy Mayfield running right there on the bottom. Car number 2 had to restart 13th. Trying to work his way back up. He is 12th. Racing a pack of lapped cars.
3 wide down into turn 3. Jeremy Mayfield. I told you this was going to be a ride that you all remember.
And a long way to go, buddy, and 39 laps to get there.
Mark Martin has brought his car out of the garage area after making those changes that we talked about.
Mark coming out. Again, he's got to keep those left side tires inside the yellow line. That's why he's straddling it until he gets back up to speed. Bobby Labonte stepping out. He led by 0.7 of a second last lap. Same margin this lap over his teammate Tony Stewart.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. there in second on the racetrack right now, but certainly a lap down. But they made major adjustments to that car and seemed to have brought it back to life here.
Dale Earnhardt Sr. is up to 4th place now. That junior we're watching there. But Dale Earnhardt Sr. has passed Dale Jarrett, moved up to 4th.
Ricky Rudd leading Dale Earnhardt, who's risen to the top here, 4th place, chasing 3rd. Now coming down to turn 1. Now there's Bobby Labonte. Let's show you the interval back to Jeremy Mayfield, who is now 11th down on the inside of the racetrack.
Boy, and he's passing him. He's not using anybody for drafting or anything else. Just going by on the bottom side of the racetrack. That car is hooked.
Let's check with Bill Stevens.
Mike, as Dick Bergman mentioned earlier, Jeremy's transmission sounded like somebody was playing castanets inside of it when he left the pits after that pit stop. But I just talked to Peter Suspenzo. He says it's okay as long as he doesn't have to go down into 3rd gear. That car should be able to maintain its speed.
He's holding about 0.6 back off the lead. Battle for 3rd, Rudd and Earnhardt.
Earnhardt must have made some great adjustments on that car also. He hadn't been a factor up till right now, but he's passing one of the fastest cars on the track on the bottom side of the racetrack. Earlier today, he was going up the hill.
And we talked about that the racetrack was going to be totally different. Cars that were good before might not be good now, and those that maybe were not so good are good, and Earnhardt is a perfect example.
Our Texaco Haviland cam on board Ricky Rudd looking ahead at Dale Earnhardt, 3rd in the points, 3rd in this race.
Earnhardt goes to the bottom. Ricky Rudd moves up the racetrack. Car looks pretty good in the corners, but right now Dale Earnhardt turned it up a notch.
And Mayfield continues to march toward the front, just picked off another pack, moved ahead of Mike Skinner in the draft. And Mayfield still in 11th place, but he's gaining a bit of ground toward the front.
One thing about it, coming up through the field like he's doing right now, it's easy to climb the ladder at the bottom, but the closer you get to the top of the ladder, it gets tougher to pass.
Just ahead of him, Robert Presley, and that, if he passes Presley, that'll put him in the top 10.
That shouldn't take long, the way that car's sticking to the bottom of the racetrack.
John Andretti is also part of that battle for 9th place. There's Earnhardt ahead of Rudd, 3rd and 4th. They are 3.2 seconds behind the leader, Bobby Labonte.
Now what they're doing right now, they're following each other, trying to catch up by using the draft on each other. You watch Rudd, he'll run right up behind the back of the 3 down the straightaway, trying to give him that extra arrow push down the straightaway.
Earnhardt a little higher line this time through the corner. Ricky's going to pull right up to him, running just a little lower on the racetrack.
You ever heard of using your tires real hard? That might be what's happening to Earnhardt right now. He was flying up through there, but he might have leaned on his tires just a little bit too much.
33 laps to go. And now Bobby Labonte's lead over teammate Tony Stewart is 1.3 seconds. 3.6 seconds back to these two. Sparks there off the chassis of Ricky Rudd's car.
Probably bottomed out a little bit as he went into the corner.
Well, those are two unlikely allies, Earnhardt and Rudd. Let's have a look at our Fritos telemetry on board Elliott Sadler. That's Steve Park just ahead.
190 miles an hour down as they head off into the corners there. See close to 200 down the front straightaway as he comes along. He's got a good draft there as they come down the front straightaway. almost 200 miles an hour as he heads into turn 1.
Stacy Compton goes to the garage. So he'll be the 42nd finisher today. Here is Bobby Labonte coming around a complete lap 169. Here is the interval looking back to Tony Stewart. That's about 1.5 seconds back to second place. The next car in line is Dale Earnhardt Jr. with 1 lap down. Behind him is his dad battling Ricky Rudd for third place. So at Michigan, 30 laps to run. We'll be right back. Look at Jeremy Mayfield. He has just come from 10th to 5th in 2 laps as he battles Ward Burton.
That might be as good a car in the corner as I've ever watched. And when he goes to the bottom there, everybody else looks like he put on the brakes. From the center out, he's not that much quicker. But boy, does he get in the corner.
I said 5th. Make that 6th. Bill Elliott on the left of your screen is the 5th place car. Mayfield is 6th. Ward Burton is 7th. Dale Jarrett, Robert Presley.
You said it right. About 2 more laps and you could use that phrase all over again.
Dale Jarrett is one that's gone backwards since the green flag dropped. He was leading the race and now dropped all the way back to 8th position.
Now, Ward Burton just changed his line on the racetrack right by Jeremy Mayfield.
Back up to the battle for 3rd and 4th. It's a battle for 3rd. Neither of these guys wants to be 4th. Earnhardt and Rudd. Cars are 5 seconds off the lead. Ralph?
Well, as Dad pointed out, Mike, Dale Jarrett has slipped from the lead of this race from the way back to green all the way back to 8th place. And it might not stop there. He has radioed in and said the car is slipping and sliding as he comes off the corners, trying to apply the power back to the racetrack. So as we mentioned before, some of the cars got better, some of the cars got worse. Dale, unfortunately, slips into the worst category.
All that rain and then the track drying produced a very different surface than what we had prior to that tremendous shower at lap 150. Now here's Mayfield closing on Bill Elliott. This is for 5th place.
There's one car that did not change anything for. Jeremy Mayfield right now is way fast. He is, as far as getting around the racetrack, he and Bobby Labonte both are running very, very well, but this car is really fast getting into the corners.
25 laps to go. Bobby Labonte with a 2.2 second lead over Tony Stewart. Here's that 5th place battle.
Boy, oh boy. He left black marks getting down in the corner there. He was running down where nobody's run all day long, getting in the corner there, trying to get by Bill Elliott. But Bill was on the high side of the racetrack and got momentum coming off the corner. Now he's going to try up high and see if he can hang with Bill and maybe close, or maybe he's just cooling those tires because of smoke. He's got smoke coming out.
There he has, and he pulls it down to the inside. Trouble for Jeremy Mayfield.
He won't get to pit lane carrying too much speed. He rolls down the front straightaway, and it looks like he may have shut it off. Caution is out with 24 laps to go. And what looked like a chance to go to victory lane will become a chance to load it up on the truck for Jeremy Mayfield. All right, 24 laps to go. 12 cars now on the lead lap. Do you pit?
Well, if you're Dale Jarrett,
tires, yeah.
Yeah, he will. Now, whether Bobby Labonte, he's got a great set of tires on that car right now. Don't know. It'll be interesting to see what he and Tony Stewart do.
Here are the lead lap cars. There's Bobby Labonte, the leader, as we watch Jeremy Mayfield roll around, presumably toward the garage. Labonte and Stewart, the two Pontiacs, 1st and 2nd. Earnhardt's Chevrolet 3rd. Rudd and Elliott in Fords. Ward Burton's Pontiac 6th. Jarrett 7th in a Ford as Mayfield's spotter heads down the stairs. Presley's Ford in 8th. Rusty Wallace's Ford 9th. John Andretti's Pontiac 10th. Sterling Marlin 11th and Jeff Burton 12th. Those will be the lead lap cars when we go back to green.
That's the worst feeling of all, when you know that you have a great race car and all of a sudden the best car just goes flat on you.
23 laps to go. They may make pit stops, and then we'll go back to green to finish this off. Pit stops for all the lead lap cars. Leader Bobby Labonte taking on 4 tires, as are most of the cars that were on the lead lap. Robert Presley took 2.
And Bobby Labonte's, his pit stop was a little bit slow. Tony Stewart had a great pit stop. Dale Jarrett had a 14.1 second pit stop.
Wow. And the big loser on that exchange was Bill Elliott, who comes out at the tail end of the group. Robert Presley was the one driver who gambled and took on only 2 tires.
I think that's a good gamble for him, Mike. That don't have that many laps on those left side tires, and hey, it'll give him good track position. And I think that's a good gamble. He's been running good all day.
Let me give you another gambler, Ned. Frankie Stoddard. Jeff Burton did not pit.
So of course he was penalized there earlier, had to go to the end of the longest line. So yeah, and they know that rain is in the area again, and Frankie Stoddard, he is the crew chief, and Jeff Burton, they're the rain makers. I mean, they're the people who've benefited more from rain than anybody else over the last several years.
Frankie crewed for NASCAR North legend Stub Fadden for many years, racing out of North Haverhill, New Hampshire, before coming south. And he was 13th, Ned, so definitely not stopping will get him to the front of the pack.
Sure.
As he sits there with Buddy Parrott, the question is, how long can he stay close to the front? Dick Berggren?
Well, Bobby Labonte just had a slow pit stop, Mike. It was 18-1, and the problem was with the right rear tire. Barry Cook just was slow on it. The jack band was ready to go. Front tire was all set, and just took him an extra little bit of time, and that's all it really took to put him out of the lead. And just a moment ago, Jimmy Makar radioed to him and said, "We have put you in a hole. Let's see what we can do with it." Bobby said, "Don't worry." To Ralph.
Tony Stewart was just a touch loose, so they made a very slight air pressure adjustment, about a half a pound. They think that's going to be just enough. They had an absolutely blazing quick pit stop. That's what got him back up to the front. As far as the 88 is concerned with Dale Jarrett, he's tight going in and loose coming out. They told him they're going to take the tight out. You're going to have to handle the loose part yourself.
Ricky Rudd back in, and they're working there on the right side of the car. Had the window come loose, perhaps?
Yeah, that's exactly. It looks like you're trying to fix the right window. You're not allowed to race without the window in, and apparently they had to fix it.
Well, that's going to cost him some valuable track position.
Well, with Ned, we said at the top of the show, with all the cars as equal as they are, this would come down to a race of who had the least miscues, maybe more so than who had the fastest car.
And it's certainly working out that way right now, because the fastest car is in the garage area. That was Jeremy Mayfield.
There is Robert Presley's crew. Their 2-tire change have put their driver up to second place. Ryan Pemberton there, the crew chief. Gutsy call, but I agree with Ned. It was a good one.
He did the old high five there. He's pretty happy with his car.
So Bobby Labonte came in first, went out 7th. Tony Stewart lost 1 spot in the pits. Earnhardt 2, but those were the cars that either did not stop or took only 2 tires. Ricky Rudd will drop to 12th, and Bill Elliott 11th after coming in 5th. We're set for what we hope will be the final run to the flag. There'll be 20 laps to go. We'll be right back. We are set for the restart. Jeff Burton just came in and made a stop in pit road. He'll go to the tail end, but there is rain at the north end of the speedway.
That might have been a costly pit stop that he just made. He had stayed out there. Jeff Burton had. Everybody else had come into the pits, and he came back in. I'm sure he stayed out there to lead a lap under caution and then decided to come in. And boy, that could have cost him the race win. Robert Presley just might get it here with if that rain moves in here, and it looks like it's coming.
Ned, you're exactly right. And off turn 4, there's a lot of rain over there.
Robert Presley came to national notice out of the Hickory, North Carolina area while racing for Dan Welch's number 59 team in the Busch Series.
Might not be wise,
and Presley is behind the pace car. He is in the lead of this race. Rain at the north end, and the caution flag will stay out for at least another lap. Wow. There you see it.
Kill him. Kill him.
Yep. Bill Stevens.
I'm with Jeremy Mayfield. After the tire violation, you got put back into the pack, and you were smoking everybody until the engine smoked you.
Yeah, I mean, that's what do you say? You know, you sit here and you get mad and all that stuff, but it doesn't matter. I mean, the thing I'm proud of is the way this car ran today. I mean, it's awesome. This team worked
flawlessly all day long. The car was perfect, and you know, it's almost worth giving up a win to know that you got many more to come. With this team, we get better and better every week. That's all you can ask for. And one day we're going to stop breaking stuff and, you know, beating ourselves. And when that happens, you're going to see a good run from us.
Had no warning on that, huh?
No, not at all. And, you know, there again, you know, we had some trouble last week and this week, but for like 3 years now we haven't had any trouble. So, you know, when they run like that, you're going to have trouble. You know, I mean, them guys doing a great job, Penske engines, and everybody at the shop and everybody on the car. And that's all you can ask for. You know, just keep working hard and getting better.
The winner in California won't be the winner this weekend.
Mother Nature may rule today. I thought when it rained, Jeff Burton was supposed to win. That's how it usually works. But I'll tell you, Ryan Pemberton with that 2-tire call looks pretty sharp right now with Robert Presley out front.
He does look pretty smart, but I will tell you, it looks like the rain may just skirt right around the edge of turn 4 up there.
Presley spotter up on the roof with the rest of them, and we may get this back under green. We'll see. Communication between NASCAR and the flag stand going on right now. Richard Petty often said the best you can do on any given day is put yourself in a position to win.
Amen.
Circumstances will dictate the outcome.
You can see the rain there on the back side of that grandstand, Mike. I don't know whether it's going to miss or not.
Whoa. Caution flag remains out. Going to be 18 to go this time by. There are now just 12 cars on the lead lap with Mayfield's retirement. Tony Stewart, last week's winner, right now in the runner-up spot. And after pit stops, Dale Jarrett in third, Dale Earnhardt in fourth, Ward Burton in fifth, Bobby Labonte in sixth after that slightly long pit stop. Rusty Wallace, John Andretti, Sterling Marlin. Then Bill Elliott, Ricky Rudd, and Jeff Burton. Those are the 12 cars on the lead lap. And for the 19th time in his Winston Cup career, Robert Presley is in the lead. 18 laps to go here at Michigan. We'll be right back. "17 laps to go. The lights out on the safety car. Green next time by." Let's go to Ralph.
Well, the first thing crew chief Brian Pemberton for Robert Presley asked me when I walked up here is, how far is the rain away from here? That was a pretty gutsy move you made there. Is that what you're banking on?
No, I mean, that was a consideration. There was only a few cars behind us on the lead lap. We just took a chance of getting out front and, you know, hoping for something odd to happen like that. We got a great car, probably not the best car, but we do definitely have a good car. We've been there all day, great pit stops, and we're just going to keep our fingers crossed, hope for the best.
Is it good enough to win even without the rain?
It's definitely good enough to run the top 5, but we've been right there with the guys all day. Just getting the right situation at the right time, I think we'll be fine. We've been a little tight. We freed it up. Hopefully we've made the right decisions.
Next to Presley, 26 is Jimmy Spencer, the former modified champion, trying to get back on the lead lap. There will be 16 laps to run. On the outside lane, Presley, Stewart, Jarrett, Earnhardt, Burton. Green flag.
Well, this could get wild.
Stewart outside for the lead.
3 wide down in the corner. Stewart really picking it up down through it. He's by Presley already.
And here comes Earnhardt. Earnhardt's got a big run off turn 2. Spencer backtailing the lead lap. Stewart, the leader, trying for 2 in a row.
Dale Jarrett on the high side there. They tried to block him out, but he still got a good run up out of the corner, taking over second spot. But look at Earnhardt making it 3 wide.
They're 3 and 4 wide behind him. Earnhardt battling on the bottom, trying to follow in Stewart's tire tracks. Jarrett going after Stewart now.
Whatever adjustment they made on that car looks to be very good, but he was quick just on fresh tires not long ago.
Just for a lap or 2, and then it went away on him. Of course, they made an adjustment on it. Said they'd take care of the pushing part.
Look at him
He's going to have to drive that loose part of it himself. He's trying it up on the outside. Won't work.
Jarrett hunting the lead, and still they're 3 and 4 wide behind them.
Keep an eye on Earnhardt. He's now in third, pulling down on Jarrett as they come by the start finish line.
Bobby Labonte has already moved up there into the 4th position.
He has to get past Jimmy Spencer to challenge the leaders, but Labonte is coming. Stewart as low as he can be, and Jarrett pins him to the bottom of the racetrack and sweeps around the outside.
Bobby Labonte now has to move on the bottom side there. Robert Presley fights back with him as they run side by side down the back straightaway.
Stewart drives deep into the turn 3, trying to slide up and keep Jarrett, stop that momentum up on that outside.
13 laps to go this time.
Earnhardt's got the advantage there of having 2 cars running side by side. He's moving in now.
Just trying to figure out which one of these guys are going to follow. Earnhardt. He might be trying to go up on the outside himself, on the outside of both of them.
Good call, Ned.
That's where he's going. The man in black is the man upstairs. And here comes Stewart right across his bow.
Well, that's not good for Jarrett on the bottom side there. He has no one to help him at all, as Earnhardt has a little bit of a toe off the 20, but he just drives her down in the corner. But look at Earnhardt deep into that corner.
Talk about your parity, a Pontiac, a Ford, and a Chevy fight for the lead.
And here comes Bobby Labonte.
Wow, like a shot out of a gun, he's coming.
Bobby Labonte, the pole sitter, first of his season. Won here at Michigan. Been quick all day. Tough pit stop this last time. But Labonte's coming right back to the front now. It's a 4-car race for the lead.
Down the...
Oh, smoke from Kyle Petty.
Oh, that's too bad. Kyle had a good steady run here today. Too bad having a problem right here at the end.
He got out of the racing groove, though. Don't look for a caution as these 4 guys go at it for the win here.
11 laps to go this time.
Tony Stewart is using that bottom line. That's what got him to where he is, and he's going to stick with it.
You're right. It brought him to the dance now, but he's got some people there that really want to win this race. And I think the one that I'm watching the most right now is the 18 of Bobby Labonte. Very, very fast.
Yeah, he's very, very fast. He's got 2 fast race cars to pass before he can get to Stewart, and Stewart now beginning to pull away.
Let's ride with Bobby Labonte. That's Jarrett just ahead. Stewart way on the bottom of the racetrack again, and now starting to pull away.
And I hate to say it, but it looked like a little bit of moisture on the windshield as they were coming out of the corner there, coming off turn 4.
10 to go.
Stewart trying to beat 2 in a row. Tony, look at him scrap behind him. That looks good in Stewart's mirror.
Oh, he's loving it as Bobby Labonte and Dale Jarrett run side by side. Earnhardt pretty much out by himself right now.
No help here. Labonte, Earnhardt, and Jarrett all racing for that championship. The first, third, and fourth place point man battling for second.
Boy, it's tough to beat that when he just hits the front.
Smoker, turn 4. Is that one car? A lot of smoke diving to the bottom. Kenny Irwin, and that's the caution.
Might this be the race? Probably not. They'll probably get it restarted again.
Trouble front straightaway. A lot of smoke. Car in the wall. Jeffrey Bodine. Car went around and damage to the left front.
Don't let up. Don't let up.
All right, coming to the flag. Turn 3. Remember, there's a damaged car to the apron in turn 1. Stewart handily is going to bring them down to the caution flag. This may or may not be the last green flag lap of the race. For second, Earnhardt over Bobby Labonte. Jarrett in 4th. Plenty of room to get past the broken car of Jeffrey Bodine. And we're under caution with 8 laps to go. How quickly can they clean it up?
I believe they'll clean it up pretty quickly.
I do too, Ned. There's not a whole lot of things on the racetrack. You see Jeffrey putting his net down. He's okay. He's getting out of the car.
So Stewart's the leader. Earnhardt second.
Laps to go when we come to the cars.
Bobby Labonte 3rd. Jarrett 4th. Presley 5th. Ward Burton moved ahead of Rusty Wallace on the run to the flag. Then Bill Elliott, John Andretti, Sterling Marlin, Jeff Burton, Ricky Rudd, the lead lap car.
He's stuck in the mud. I saw the wheel spinning. He's trying to get that car going so he can get out of the way here.
And he may get a little help getting out here. Let's try and have a look
at
what happened.
I saw the wheel spin. Maybe it's...
But I think that tire's flat, isn't it, buddy?
Yeah.
Or is it? Yeah, it looks like it's flat in addition to being in the wet grass.
But
so they'll hook up Jeff Bodine, and also Kenny Irwin has made it to pit road.
Let me explain to everyone, the window net on the driver's side was put down to let the corner workers know I'm okay, so you don't have to rush up.
A good bit of mud there, but the right front and the left front have a lot of damage now.
Yeah, this left front tire is flat as well.
And it's pretty well dug in, so Kenny Irwin is going to limp in. And that was the car, that big plume of smoke, that initiated the caution.
I don't see any oil dry trucks headed out there to put anything on the speedway, so if they can get these cars out of the way, we will have a green flag run here for the end.
Jeff Burton and Ricky Rudd, Ned.
Yeah, started to say a couple of cars coming down pit road. They'll come in and perhaps put new tires on their cars, maybe make some adjustments for the run, because if we do get restarted, then it'll be a single file restart, and only the cars on the lead lap will be up front.
You see Jeff Bodine after bouncing off the wall and getting stuck there where a lot of water accumulated after the end of the rainstorm.
Yeah, that shot we saw there, he'd already been around. You see it spinning round and round there.
Robbie Gordon and he may have gotten together.
Might have.
Hard to say.
Yep.
Check Gordon's car for damage when it comes around. Wally Dollenbach's also pitting. Gordon is in the pits, and his number 13, and they wipe off the front, going to put 4 tires on it, but it's hard to see if there is any evidence of contact. Robbie Gordon is a little like Jimmy Spencer, and no disrespect intended, but if there's a wreck and that car is within that part of the racetrack, sometimes those fellows are assumed to be involved. So Robbie, if it wasn't you, I'm sorry. Oh, look at the left front.
He's gotten into something.
Yep. Not sure if that was Jeffrey Bodine or not.
Don't know, but he has certainly hit something.
That's a pretty good black mark right on the middle part of the nose there, right on the right front corner also.
It'll be 6 laps to go next time by as they try to get Jeff Bodine's car off of the end of pit road. Ralph?
Mike, we're down here with Greg Zipadelli. The rest of the crew down here leaned over and said, boy, this is killing Zippy. How you hanging in there? Your nerves getting to you?
Oh, yeah, 2 weeks in a row. I don't know if I can handle much more of this. Home Depot Pontiac, we got her back to where we started. We had that little bit of a problem. Last pit stop was awesome. Got us back track position we needed. We just didn't need that caution. Everybody will be fighting tooth and nail for this one here. Hopefully, Smoke will get himself a good restart, and we can bring it home.
Is the car good enough to hold them off now on a dead restart like this?
Boy, I'll tell you, it's hard to say. You know, I mean, we haven't had any of these scenarios before. Normally, we'd all come in, put 4 tires on. It's just going to be who gets a really good shift and who's smooth first few laps there and doesn't give anything up. So I'm going to put my money on Smoke.
Dick Berggren.
Richard Childress knows Dale Earnhardt better than anybody. He knows the race car better than anybody. How about it, Richard? Can he get him?
Never count Dale Earnhardt out when he gets down to one of these races, but man, those Pontiacs are strong right now. Maybe they'll give him a little help after this race.
Okay, politicking to the end. To Bill Stevens.
Dale Jarrett won this race in a runaway last year. You've had quite a day. Looked like Dale had a run for the front a few laps ago. Maybe this restart will give him another shot at it.
Yeah, you know, made a change right there. The cars seem to be a little better. The guys have great pit stops, have awesome pit stops all day long. I mean, these boys are just incredible. And this car's still just a little bit too tight. You know, green racetrack, I guess we didn't get the adjustments made just right. So we'll just take all we can get right here. And I'd like to say happy birthday to Tyler. Happy birthday, son. Be home a little bit. Back up to you.
6 laps to go, and they better get going because there is rain off in the parking areas off of turn 2. So, a little rain dance in Tony Stewart's pit.
We're not going.
No,
staying out.
And Kenny Irwin's car is being pushed to the garage. He will join Bobby Hamilton and Jeremy Mayfield, Kyle Petty, and Jeffrey Bodine out of this race, just shy of the finish. So the caution will hold. Even if they turn the light off, it'll be about another 2 minutes before they came around to complete 196 and get this race back under green. Tony Stewart has been frustrated this year. He exhibited some of that frustration, and it showed up in the press, and it portrayed Stewart as a driver who didn't like dealing with the fans. And I'm not sure that was an accurate portrayal, because the time I've spent with Tony Stewart, he lamented last year as we were walking to the interview room at Texas. He says, what I can't stand is that there's no time for the fans. All these people, they buy your souvenirs, they cheer for you. You just want to spend a minute or two with them, and you just don't have the time. I think that's more the frustration of a young driver in Winston Cup, that there are so many sponsor and team obligations that your life is so different than it was on the short tracks or in the other series, that things just are now very different, and time management is very difficult.
They're bringing the cars down pit road right now.
Red
Probably
flag,
red flag, yeah.
for rain. They are not going to run this through under caution. We saw a bit of rain on their Bobby Labonte's onboard camera. We saw it on Tony Stewart's windshield. Well,
Wow.
the rain dance worked for those fellas down in Stewart's pit, but they didn't get the flag they wanted, which was the checkered one.
And, you know, I talked to Tony Stewart about that, and he says he loves the fans,
Yes,
you know?
I agree.
But apparently he said some of the things, but he didn't mean it the way it was written. So I can tell you that he likes to race fans, and he loves Winston Cup racing.
And the other thing that he's not going to give up is going to races and being around people. He flew down to Bristol, Tennessee to watch the World of Outlaws this weekend. You know, you'll find him at a short track race, and sometimes you'll find him hot lapping a car because he loves racing. Whether it's Friday, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon here, he wants to get out and be part of it.
I saw him take his gloves off right there. He's going to rest for a little bit, but you're right, Mike. If anybody epitomizes what a race driver loves, he's one of them, because he loves to compete. He'd just soon run on a half-mile dirt. It's a 2.5-mile Daytona race.
All the cars have now come to pit road. They're not rain dancing anymore in Tony's pit. And there are 6 laps to go. It'll be 5 when they cross the line. So if they then came around and got 1 to go, we could have 3 laps to finish this off.
3
wow.
green flag laps. Yep.
This is better than the Winston. A 3-lap shootout?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Well, if you look at the grandstands here, nobody has left. All these seats are still full. And these hardy fans have waited out now 2 rain delays, 1 for an hour and a half. And now this one that we hope is brief, because they smell a shootout coming. And like you, they want to see it. So we'll be back to Michigan Speedway after this word. Welcome back.
Wow.
It is pouring once again. It's just like somebody turned on a faucet and suddenly everything is awash, including Ralph Shaheen.
Mike, I'm with the one guy who is so happy to see this rain fall. He can't stand it right now. That would be the driver of the number 20 Pontiac for Joe Gibbs, Tony Stewart. And you said just before the race went back to green, here comes Dale Earnhardt.
Ain't over yet.
Zippy's trying to get him to call it. Zippy's trying to get him to call the race. He's trying to talk Dale Earnhardt into going in and calling it for him.
He's the only one who's got the horsepower to do it, unfortunately. Your name's not Earnhardt. He's been around this long. I think you could probably get him to do it, but I don't think he's going to go for that right now.
Do you think you got enough to hold him off if it does go back to green?
I'm just praying for rain. I don't care. I don't know. I mean, we're all so close, and you know, we're going to have a 4-lap shootout with him behind you. That's probably the most nerve-wracking experience you can ever go through in your life. It's probably worse than childbirth for women, so who knows.
How much did the track change between when we came back to go green and what we had seen earlier on in the day?
Well, it had washed all the rubber off for sure, so it was different than the beginning of the race. Even the beginning of the race had some rubber on it, but it was a green racetrack when we started, and we pretty much made the decision to start back at square one, so we got a decent car. Just you know, I'm good on one spot on the racetrack, and I need to be by myself to do it though. So we'll wait and see.
You said as we went back to green, I don't have time to be patient. I got to go for it. How hairy were those few laps there when you were running for the lead?
Well, I mean, you still got to keep the car underneath you, but you don't have time to waste out there. I mean, with that much time left, you know that. You know, we knew Robert had 2, and we knew we could probably get by him because of that, but we knew everybody behind us had 4, so we knew we had our work cut out for us, and we knew we just couldn't waste time. We had to go for it.
Tony Stewart waiting to see if he will get that second win 2 weeks in a row. Dick?
Dale Jarrett's standing here under a little bit of cover, and he's taking deep breaths and shaking his head. No one can quite believe this, but what do you think? If we get going again, you got a shot at those guys ahead of you?
No, I'd be quite honest. No, yeah, I had my best shot there. You know, before the rains came the first time, we'd gotten our car freed up. All we did was put on 4 tires and went to plowing. We were fortunate the caution came out. The guys made a great pit stop and got me back out. And this set's a little freer, but still too tight to mess with those guys.
Okay, well, if they do get going, good luck.
I can't believe the weather. It has rained harder twice than I think we've seen in a whole spring of a very wet New England where I live. And this is hurricane quality rain.
Yeah, and I hope some of this is going down in the Daytona area. They've been really, really dry down there.
It is over. Tony Stewart wins the Kmart 400. It's all over. And there is a very soaked and very happy winner. 2 weeks in a row. Tony, Ken Squire is with him.
2 weeks in a row. Tony Stewart has pulled it off, and what a dramatic finish from 28th today. What an incredible pit stop.
Yeah, I tell you what, I didn't win this race. The guys won the race for us. The guys did a great job in the pits all day, and you know, we had a bad one at the beginning, but they sure made up for it there at the end.
They were talking about how you'd been to Bristol, Tennessee to cheer on Danny Lasowski up there in the World of Outlaws, but nobody noted that you'd been there 2 straight nights and not got home till 2 o'clock in the morning. You really are a racer.
Yeah, you know, Danny and I are really good buddies, and, you know, we're working really hard to put together a first-class team for him next year, and I feel like my job as a car owner is to be there and learn as much about him as I can and stay up on the technology. So, been there rooting him on, but let me tell you something, I'm really happy for this Home Depot team, Coca-Cola, you know, everybody just has worked so hard. Pontiac, we had a really good car yesterday, and then the weather changed on us, and we've been chasing the race car all day. We had a tire that equalized. We just been all over the board today, but finally when it counted, we were there at the top.
If you had to be worried about someone with a 5-lap shootout, had this storm not come, who would you worry about the most, the Intimidator or your teammate?
The black 3 for sure. I mean, I know the 18's not going to hurt me. He may go by me, but the 3 wouldn't have a problem roughing you up a little bit on the way by just to say hi, and he'd smile and laugh as he was doing it. So I didn't really like seeing him back there at the end, but I'm just glad it's over.
Congratulations on another superb victory.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Tony Stewart victorious in the rain here at Michigan. Let's go back topside with Mike Joy.
Well, Ken, was he thanking the crew for the fast pit stops or for that rain dance they were doing to try to get this to all come down and put this one away? Gordy Arbiter, Gerald Shires, the tire changers, Tom Dean and Jay Berry, the carriers, Gooch Patterson and Scott Crowell, the gas men, Brian Larson on catch can, Marcus Bonicelli, the jack man, and Greg Zippadelli, the crew chief. They are singing in the rain for Tony Stewart here at Michigan. Earnhardt, second, was third in the points going into this race. Look back through the top 10. Ward Burton, second place point man. Nice 6th place finish for him. 12 cars in the lead lap back through Jeff Burton. And 1 lap down cars back through Robbie Gordon in 29th.
There was going to be a lot of shuffling back through there, and was a lot of shuffling in those laps that were run, because a lot of cars were 1 lap down as we watched the rundown here on the balance of the field. Kyle Petty having problems right there at the end in his Pontiac.
And let's see what it does to the Winston Cup point standings. Now, Bobby Labonte came in here with a sizable lead, and he'll now have 98 over Dale Earnhardt, who vaults past Ward Burton by 4 points into second in the championship chase. Dale Jarrett holds on to 4th. Jeff Burton moves up past Mark Martin, who had a rough day, into 5th. And Rusty Wallace moves up into 6th. Tony Stewart climbs from 9th to 7th. Ricky Rudd holds on to 8th. Mark Martin back to 9th. Jeff Gordon holds 10th. And Matt Kenseth moves ahead of Terry Labonte. And that's the top dozen after 14 races. So for all of us here at CBS Sports, Mike Joy saying so long from Michigan International Speedway, where Joe Gibbs, Tony Stewart, Greg Zippadelli and crew are singing in the rain, celebrating their victory in the Kmart 400. So long, everybody.